Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys, how is everyone doing now that it's been a minute? Sick to your stomach. Yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people are. Still not a lot of details. I've pretty much posted everything that I've seen in the community tab, but wanted to come together tonight and just put everything together for what we know so far. What the families have been claiming, how divided the families seem to be about the situation. There's a couple family members we're not hearing from. I will say that I know yesterday we went over, someone named Kim gave a statement to TMZ that's related to Xana. I just don't remember exactly if she's somebody related to Jeff or if she's somebody related to Kara, if it's one of the maybe step parents, relatives. I'm not sure how Kim is related. That's the one thing I will say. But when it comes to everyone else, we do have a little bit of something from Ben Mogen. The Chapins came out and said something, but also are choosing not to say anything at all, which is interesting because, well, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. I've made a little thing so that we can all like see all the updates. Plus, Steve Goncalves came out last night on News Nation with Gray to say a couple of things. When it comes to documents, though, we do have a notice of hearing. We have that a pool photographer has been approved. Let me see if the case summary has changed at all. Yeah, the only thing, I'll go ahead and pull this up. The only thing that they've really changed on the case summary is the fact that this is happening to begin with. I'll show you guys this part first. See, every time I always have to like change it. This is so stupid. Make it bigger. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so we have the notice of hearing tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I have already created, I'll go ahead and share it here, a live stream for tomorrow because in the order for the pool camera, he stated that it will be streaming. So I'll put that in the chat here. And I'm pretty positive it's going to do like it has been. Like I know like last time was sort of confusing and it went back and forth because they said it was going to be on their website. And then all of a sudden it wasn't on the website. It was over on YouTube and it just kept circling us. We're going to probably have the same thing happen tomorrow. I'm just going to keep an eye on it and see exactly where they put it. It'll probably be YouTube. They already know how many, hundreds of thousands of people are going to be watching this. I highly doubt that they want to run their own servers down to do anything different. So we have the notice of hearing, but then we have the order approving a pool photographer. And this is where we found out that it's going to be live streaming. It says the court received multiple requests by various media outlets to video record the change of plea hearing scheduled for Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. A live stream of the proceedings will be provided by the court on its media streaming account, so YouTube, most likely. Therefore, the various requests by media outlets to independently video record the proceedings are denied. To ensure that quality still images are available from the hearing, the court will permit a pooled still photographer to be present at the hearing. The Associated Press, having been the first to request still photography access, it will be permitted to provide such coverage as a pooled media source. The permission to provide such coverage is contingent on the AP agreeing to act as a pooled resource for such photographs for all media entities. They can't be in there and be like, well, it's our name on it, our photographer, you can't touch it. If they're going to act like that and copyright a bunch of stuff and act like, oh, you can't touch our ish, he's going to, no, not going to deal with you. The photographer may only take photographs from the location within the courtroom assigned to them by court personnel. So they're not even allowed to like just be in the courtroom and take photos. They have to be in certain areas only. Photographs may not be taken of any victims or members of any family members of the victims inside the courthouse. So don't show Dylan and Bethany, which was honestly what they were going to end up doing at trial to begin with. They were going to try to make it to where we didn't actually get to see them, have to admit to anything that they did wrong when it comes to that 8-hour delay, so that we didn't have to watch them feel embarrassed, or however was going to end up coming out about all of the things that have been coming out about that 8 hours and all of the questions. It's still funny to me how Steve Goncalves just like forgets all the questions and all the other things that he has said like in the background during all of this. And now they want to come out and start asking questions. Now, I know that they sort of were asking a couple things in the beginning, but then everything just shut up. And he started coming out and started lying. He started coming out and lying about things. And it didn't make sense, the kind of stuff he was lying about, because he's an IT guy. So for him to mistakenly get it wrong that Bryan Kohberger's device may or may not have touched the King Road Wi-Fi, that's not really something that somebody like him would just get wrong. So him coming out and saying that, knowing that it wasn't right, like, that's not okay. I don't care that you didn't have enough information. That's not a reason to come out here and lie about stuff. That's not okay. Especially knowing that all these questions still were like inside of them the whole time, because look, all of a sudden they're asking the same questions all over again. So obviously it never went away. He just decided to play the game, which is stupid. So this is the approving pull order for the photographer part that they added, and then just the fact that there's still a hearing scheduled. But if you see, like, there is nothing being canceled just yet. Anything could happen tomorrow. Literally anything could happen tomorrow. The judge could even approve, like, not even approve this ish. He might be like, no, we're not doing this. But a lot of people think that Hippler sort of like initiated this. I know that Shannon Gray mentioned something about Hippler maybe mentioning a deal a while back. I went to the past hearings, like the past 3 hearings that were public, and did the whole transcript Control F thing. And I searched for plea deal, agreements, anything along those lines. And I couldn't find anything. So I don't know if anybody else has found exactly where he said it. He might have said it with them in the room, but the camera's off. I couldn't find it. Okay, so I put this little thing right here together. Oh, this is not what I want it to do. Okay. I put this together because it just has like the updates that I've seen so far. Now, I've been away from the computer for a couple of hours, so I don't know if there's anything just yet that has popped up since, like, it's almost 8 p.m. my time. So I probably haven't seen any updates since like 6 or so. So we're going to check for new updates after I show you guys this. But again, this is just like the stuff the families are kind of out here, you know, saying. I just put some clips together so that I could use them on here, and they kind of just like go together for what we need to do right here. Let me go ahead and see what I'm missing real quick. And at the end of this, after we check for other things, we're also going to go through, and I'm going to pay attention to the chat, and we're going to get like all of y'all's questions. I know, like, my main question is like, if he actually somehow is the magic ninja that they're trying to make us believe that he is, I want to know like the exacts. And cool, people can say, you don't deserve anything. Well, the families do. And if we know, that means the families get to know. Just so I don't want to hear nothing about all of that, because I swear there's always a handful of just complete morons that act like that. We need to know exactly how. How did he manage it? How does it even make any sense? What made him make all the stupid mistakes that they're claiming that he made whenever he's supposed to be this smart guy who apparently, according to all the evidence they were supposed to submit about DeSales and all this other stuff, would prove that he's like too smart to have made all of these mistakes. So how did he end up doing all of this? Who was the target, if there even was a target? Or was he like the Ripper guy, the Gainesville Ripper, that just like showed up and just did whatever he wanted to and just magically happened to overcome his dexterity diagnosis and like all these things just like in this 7-minute window? Also, while, you know, being stared down by a DoorDash driver right before going in and going crazy. Like, none of it makes any sense. So I need specifics. I don't want to hear, oh, he's pleading guilty and then we get nothing. Because if we get nothing, the families get nothing. They would have to go in and like rule a different way to like unseal things to where they are like legally bound to shut up. Like, we'll give you what you want so that you can get your closure for your kid. But after that, you can't go around saying anything. So who knows what's going to actually happen? No way. Thank you for the $1.99. We're going right now. We're going to look at that one first. I'm going to assume it's on Twitter. I was wondering when they were going to come out and say something. I really didn't think they were going to. 11 minutes ago. Girl, you quick. Okay, let me real quick. Thank you for joining, Miss G. If you missed, well, obviously you missed it because you're new. There was a members only live last night, so you should be able to go back in and view that. 11 months, Corinne. I have what you sent me in here. Waiting for official confirmation. Well, I know we haven't had anything that says agreement or anything like that, but there might be something in this statement from the Kohbergers. So we're going to read here in just a second. And again, thank you for the $1.99 and letting me know. Okay, here it is right here. Let me get this off the screen. Statement from the Kohberger family. It's real small. Okay. In light of recent developments, the Kohbergers are asking members of the media for privacy, respect, and responsible judgment during this time. We will continue to allow the legal process to unfold with respect to all parties and will not release any comments or take any questions. We ask that you respect our wishes during a difficult time for all of those affected. They are so mature for everything going on. Yeah. But this is interesting too. Responsible judgment. It really makes you curious as to what that means. Because I've made my stance really clear. I don't care what kind of disability somebody has. If they actually truly do something heinous like this deserves to be a DP situation. I've never ever taken away that stance. I've already dealt with enough. And there's literally no excuses for people that can cross this line. I don't care what the frick is wrong with you. Okay. But a completely innocent person, no, none of this is okay or cute. And I don't understand what's happening, because how can they have had such a strong case and not been like, I'm not taking a plea deal from him. Are you out of your mind? We're going to sink him. Why would you just be like, okay, we'll play? Why would you do that? Unless you just know you either had some sort of agreement with the defense that y'all had in the background, because you know how the judge is always telling them to get together to figure out the narrative they're comfortable with, the lies. I just don't understand how left we went. This is why it's insane. We went so freaking left. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Okay, but yeah, that's the statement from the Kohberger family. So again, I don't know, and I'll check in here again. I don't know exactly which side of the family the Kim woman is on when it comes to Xana, but pretty much we have a little bit of something from like all of the families at this point. So let's go ahead and watch this. I put the Chapins first because they were the first one that I saw this morning. Or like whenever I got everything done from earlier, they were the first ones that I watched. So we're going to watch this one first. I hear a dog. Boomy. 15 circles. And then he finally lays down. Okay, I missed something else. Thank you for joining, Gina P. 18 months. That's such a long time. Such a long time. Thank you for the $10. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, y'all ready? Oh, off the screen. Okay.
We just decided maybe it was best to tell our story of Ethan literally one time. He deserves it. He deserves our story of him.
This morning, as the Idaho murder suspect prepares to accept a plea deal, the family of Ethan Chapin speaking publicly together for the first time since Ethan, his girlfriend Xana Kernodle, and her roommates Maddie Mogen and Kaylee.
Now pay attention, because if you haven't watched this yet, something is said that's really, really interesting, because there's no reason for anyone to have ever been allowed to just leave the scene for any reason other than to go straight to the police station. And it really sounds like something else besides that happened here.
Goncalves were brutally murdered in an off-campus home at the University of Idaho.
I miss him every day. When you lose your son at 20, it's different. It's a different loss. And I miss him every single day. And I always will.
Ethan, a triplet with his siblings, Hunter and Maisie, all attending the University of Idaho together. Hunter and Maisie and their parents, Jim and Stacy, now telling their story in a new Prime Video docuseries, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders.
Yeah, that's another thing that's interesting about this, is that they were so quiet and have stayed so quiet. And like, you're going to see, like, they basically are in like support of the plea agreement. they're in support of it, which honestly doesn't shock me because they had no interest of even being at the trial. And then all of a sudden, right before everything with this docuseries and on Amazon started being advertised, all of a sudden there was like a clip of her interview saying, oh, like we've been entertaining it, all of a sudden going. And now they're just like in support of it. They really have wanted to just wash their hands of this entire thing from day one. They honestly just didn't even want to bother with it whatsoever.
Remembering their 6'4", larger than life brother and son.
We played every sport together. Every time we went in the car, it was together. Partied together. There was never a dull moment.
The night before Ethan was killed, Maisie brought him to her sorority formal. She now cherishes the text he sent her before bed.
So he started off by texting me. I think he said, "Dog, come hang out. We all want you here." And I said, "I'm going to bed." And then
so does that mean that they were at home and they wanted her to come and hang out at King Road? Because remember, Jeff got a phone call from Xana at midnight saying they were home around midnight. That's also whenever all the conversation about the fight and him wanting to go over there to see what was going on and Jasmine not letting him because he had been drinking and all that other stuff came out. So is this him texting that night? Because that's really sad if, like, that's actually it.
said, "Love you." And I didn't even respond to that. I think I was asleep by then.
And the "I love you" kind of stood out, though.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Hunter, who pledged Sigma Chi with Ethan, says the next morning,
Why was the "love you" something that stood out? Was that not normal for him to tell her he loved her? Because if it's normal behavior, why would it stand out? Why would it suddenly feel different? Unless it's only different now because it's the last thing he actually said to her. But if it felt strange in the moment, then that's a bit odd that his phone would be trying to get her over there. And then the last thing he says to her stands out to her. You could see it two different ways with the way that they put it.
a friend at the fraternity woke him up saying the police were at Xana's house.
Hunter Johnson came up to me and said, I was like, "Where's Ethan and Xana?" And he's like, "They're not here anymore." It's like, "What do you mean they're not here anymore?" He's like, "I think they were murdered last night."
Hunter was forced to call his.
So I'm really confused. Did the other Hunter, leave the scene and go to where he lives and tell him that? Or does somebody else tell him, hey, there's cops over at Xana's? And then as soon as he got to the perimeter, then Hunter Johnson walked up to him. Because it's kind of hard to tell like which way he's trying to say it.
Or at Xana's house.
And I've had like two different versions of this like playing in my head. I can't remember exactly where the other one was.
Hunter Johnson came up to me and said, I was like, "Where's Ethan and Xana?" And he's like, "They're not here anymore." So, "What do you mean they're not here anymore?"
Sigma Chi with Ethan says the next morning, a friend at the fraternity woke him up saying the police were at Xana's house.
Hunter Johnson came up to me and said,
Okay, so basically he's saying this guy, she's saying person at the fraternity woke him up and said there's cops there. And he instantly segues into Hunter Johnson said this to me. But I guess there could be a middle. There could be somebody at the frat that saw the situation, because that's pretty much Jack Ducour's story, is that somebody at his house came in there and woke him up. And as soon as he went down there and said he was the ex-boyfriend, they were taking him out of there. So was it Hunter that went to his house and told him this, waking him up, telling him this? Or did somebody else in the house tell him this and then he walked over there and then Hunter told him? Will we ever get to know now?
I was like, "Where's Ethan and Xana?" And he's like, "They're not here anymore." So, "What do you mean they're not here anymore?" He's like, "I think they were murdered last night."
Hunter was forced to call his family with the news, his parents in disbelief.
It drives me crazy because I've always wanted to protect my family. And there's really nothing there that I could have done. You know, instantly.
Is that where he says it? Okay. Well, okay, I'll keep this. Let me open that real quick in another tab, and then I'll go back to. Actually, I'll let y'all listen to this while I'm doing it.
He was taken.
A suspect, Bryan Kohberger, arrested nearly 7 weeks later. With a bit of relief, the Chapins shifting their focus to their son's legacy, getting tattoos to honor him.
We all benefited from having Ethan in our lives for 20 years. It's a tremendous loss.
Now, the Chapins told me that they brought Ethan's ashes and his red Jeep home to one of their favorite places in Priest Lake, Idaho, where they live like Ethan every day to honor his legacy.
See, okay, right here. The Chapins will be in Boise. This is from John Webb. John Webb is the one from yesterday that I showed you that was actually friends with Xana and Ethan and came out and talked on a documentary, but he also works for like the local news. The Chapins will be in Boise in support of the plea bargain and will not be doing any media interviews, but goes and does all these media interviews for Amazon, but won't give any media interviews for the current actual situation that's even getting them all the attention on Amazon anyway. They won't comment on that. They'll go to Comic-Con. She'll do book interviews with Jacob from Twilight, but when it comes to her son's murder, she won't comment. I have an issue with that. Sorry, not sorry about it. I have an issue. Okay, so this is Ben's coming up next. I know this is really hard, and I know that there was already issues with Ben prior. He doesn't look good. You can tell that nothing's leveled. So for him, I understand him being okay with this. I don't feel like he ever really had a lot of fight. I think he was just really too brokenhearted. He was just really too brokenhearted to even bother fighting, honestly. In my opinion.
We spoke to Ben Mogen, the father of victim Madison Mogen, who was relieved to receive the letter.
If you get a quick death sentence, then you don't have to spend decades thinking about how terrible you made the world.
For Mogen's
But see, that's not really true either, because I mean, I don't know if they were going to end up changing the rules for how things happen, but for the most part, people that get the DP do spend decades. Honestly, like they do. They can spend up to 20 something years, sometimes 30, just depending, before they even go. So there's that too.
Father, the plea deal is justice.
We can actually put this behind us and not have these future dates and future things that we don't want to have to be at, that we shouldn't have to be at, that have to do with this terrible person. We get to just think about the rest of our lives and have to try and figure out how to do it without Maddie and without the rest of the kids.
See, his emotion, you can tell, is like really still like he's shattered. For those who don't know, Maddie was like the only biological child for him. So yeah, he's broken. Okay, now this is Steve's. After this, we're going back over Kim's, and then there's a reminder that Xanapalooza is coming up like this weekend. Pretty sure it's like this weekend. So I have a reminder there too. I saw it on Facebook.
He is the father of Kaylee Goncalves. His attorney is Shannon Gray, who has stood by him steadfast from the beginning. Steve, I don't know what to say. You're the first person I thought of when I heard this news today. I reached out to you right away. First to tell you how sorry I was, because I know how this is landing. At least I think I do. But I wanted you to have your say. I wanted you to be able to say out loud for everyone to hear what this means to you and your family.
This is anything but justice. This is the opposite of our will. There was no majority believing that this was acceptable. I want to honor all the police officers, the FBI, and all the people that work their tail off.
See, that bothers me because we know how he really feels about the FBI. It's in all the messages between him and Brett Norton that are resurfacing now. We also know that the FBI stopped him from actually meeting up with somebody who had real information and told him basically, yo ass gonna be in trouble if you don't stop getting as close as you think you're getting. Like he almost like went to a hotel to meet up with someone. I'm sure some of y'all remember that.
Failure is at the court level, 100%. But the men in the boots on the ground and the women that were out there working, I want to honor everything that they did for our children, 100%.
I'm actually worried about Kara. She hasn't posted on Facebook since like the 28th. So I hope that she's okay.
The fault is in leadership and the people that you place this evidence upon. They were weak. They decided to play God and decide what this man's decision should be, and not a jury. Not his peers. They, so that's where we are today.
Walk me through what happened. Brian Enton, did some really great reporting at the top of this show here, but tell me from your perspective how the last 3 days have played out.
I would say ever since Hippler's demanded an independent investigation, they couldn't get away from this case fast enough. They've done everything to make this case go away.
Oh, let me tell y'all something too. For anybody that didn't see the video I posted earlier about the 31 people that were actually innocent, were found guilty, and then were exonerated either because DNA or because they found the right person, 31 different people. And that was just an article from the Innocence Project from 2009. Go read the comments, okay? Even if you've changed your mind on everything and you honestly don't care and you think he honestly did it, whatever, go read comments just like this. There are so many people that watch this channel that are in the comments saying, this crap happened to me. This crap happened to my son. This crap happened to my friend. This is legit. It's not just stuff that we see on TV and the screen. There are people right here watching this case and probably watching me talk right now, just like that one right there, just like Jen and James, whichever one this is about, because honestly, it doesn't matter. But just like this, that have dealt with this in real life. This isn't just something that's fake. This isn't Hollywood, like Steve says. This is real. This kind of bullshit happens. And I know that I haven't given my full thing when it comes to the university, but I've always said that I have a problem with the university because I came from a town where we had a problem with the university. I see this shit all the time. Again, my same town also let, again, an entire family of cannibalistic serial killers off on a freaking technicality. One of them even lived by the school for a while. I think he still does. This kind of shit happens all the time. This is so gross.
Okay. So I don't know what that
another one
entails, but
another one. And yes, Ryan Ferguson. Holy crap. You know how long I had that name on a damn Post-it note right here on the corner of my computer? That's the case we're going to have to definitely go over because damn. Yeah, Ryan Ferguson.
He said he was going to have an independent investigator, and all of a sudden we seemed like we were on rails to get rid of this case and make a plea deal. I mean,
and isn't that interesting? I'm glad that he's saying that kind of crap because isn't that true? He came out and did 4 interviews before Dateline, okay? Everything that came out on Dateline was pretty much verbatim this like script thing that Steve was out here repeating like a freaking mockingbird. That is what triggered the special prosecutor investigation into said leak. Then all of a sudden, they're wanting to get rid of everything. They're wanting to hurry up and hush everything. Did you not notice that as soon as that leak happened, everything started getting even more sealed up than it already was starting to? Something got found out in that leak that made them do this. And I don't know if they proved that it was the defense that did something and now this is like a way that they're trying to be punished for it. I don't know what the frick happened. All I know is that whatever they did, he's not wrong. As soon as that became a problem, everything went crazy. But I'm not going to sit here and forget what the judge originally did. He had the letter for the state with the responsibility on the prosecutor already submitted and given to them before the defense even had one written up. It was during the hearing. He was like, yeah, I'll have to write one up for the defense too. And theirs just said somebody leaked something. The states had them being the ones responsible. Then all of a sudden the judge wants to go back on his own thing and act like everything that we're saying that he's saying we're making up, we're pulling out of our butts. No, your words, broski. You can't delete all of our live streams. You can try. Don't think that we don't got backups. Your words are out there. The whole thing with him is so disgusting. Ugh.
He's guilty. We all know he's guilty. There's more than enough evidence.
Yes, we know that, Tara. I'm aware of that. We covered that yesterday. I know that you've said that a lot. I know. I didn't say that they didn't. I'm saying that there's a lot of things that could have been going on in the background in order for this to happen. And this thing into the leak and everything all of a sudden being hushed, and then wanting to hurry up and get this over with, so close to the jury trial happening. You have to remember, and like I've always said about our government too, they all get paid from the same bank account. Just because they play on 2 different sides doesn't mean they're on 2 different sides.
But it's tough. It's tough to put a community through this, and it could be bad for reputations and business identities, and there's fallout.
Another one. I pled guilty to 2nd-degree trespassing and had a receipt in pocket showing I paid $650 to be there, but they threatened to euthanize my service dog? What? Okay, we're about to have to start exposing some places and some things. Okay? This is pathetic. They threatened to take they killed a squirrel in New York. So honestly, nothing shocks me. We're going to have to start telling y'all stories. They threaten to take your kids. Oh, I know. They play all kind of bullshit, don't they? Cops would side with your daughter's abuser. See? No, we about to start telling y'all stories. If y'all want y'all stories told, it's about to start telling y'all stories. This is bullshit. I hope they tell us everything. Where's it at? Yes, Peanut, the damn squirrel. Hey, Jackie. Right here. Yeah, I hope they tell us everything. Because, again, I'm not going to excuse the lies they came out here saying at all. I'm not going to excuse the lies. There's no excuse for whoever is guilty of doing this, no matter what anyone tries to say might be wrong with whatever this ends up going, okay? There's no excuses for the things that were done. There's no excuses for lying. Just because you don't have information, it doesn't mean that you can come out here and state that things are facts in order to get people to side a certain way. I hope they come out and they tell the truth, because the ultimate basis of this is that the state lied to everyone. The state has been lying to the families for almost 3 years now. And there's a reason why they're just now coming out again after all this time asking questions about the university. They could have been doing this. They haven't been under a gag order. They haven't had to be silenced, which is, again, I don't know why they keep coming out and saying, oh, we've been silenced. We've been silenced. You're not silenced, broski. You might not be getting like all of the information right now currently, but the truth about what's been going on up until a certain point could have been told, and it could have been told correctly and without the drama and without all of the exaggeration. And then you could have told us when the stopping point happened. All of the rest of this was unnecessary. It didn't fare well at all, because now everything's a huge, disgusting mess. And you yourself, Steve, look like you were involved in the leak, because you came out literally saying everything that Dateline said before Dateline came out and said it. And then Dateline was the one that was outed. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. So I don't know if something that he did is actually a part of what could have domino affected this. And now we're here. Who freaking knows? They're not telling us anything. And now that's just another question too. Are we even going to know ever about the leak now that we're not having to go to trial, and like everything's probably going to end up being opened up fairly soon? Hopefully. There's a lot of unanswered questions, which we're going to get to all of everybody's unanswered questions here in a minute.
But this isn't the will of the victims. This is just one person making a decision, and it doesn't reflect what we were asking for.
Steve, did anybody ever call you from the prosecutor's office to just personally discuss this with you? Did anybody offer to meet with you in person to go over this potential plan?
We have meetings all the time on particularly a lot of times on Friday. No. We had this regular meeting that we have to try basically do an update of what's going on, where things are at, because Idaho is actually an amazing state where it really.
Okay, so he just went off track. I'll tell y'all again, I can't show you who this is or anything like that. All I can tell you is that on June 26th, the message that I received was that the very next day, the families were meeting at the prosecutor's office, and that it was a Zoom call with over 12 people. And I was under the assumption that it was because the trial date had finally been finalized to August the 18th. And I was wrong, because that's whenever this was sort of like sprinkled on, was on the 27th that they had this meeting with all the families. That's how Kim, Xana's family member, puts it, that it was this meeting that they had. Because how did they find out? Email with a letter attached on a Sunday evening. Okay. So no, there was a conversation. They knew then, on the 27th, which families were where, the ones that met up anyway. Because remember, we went over the letter that was written by Aubrey, the youngest of the Goncalveses, for not being able to be there. That was the meeting that happened on the 27th. My son is trying to coax my dog outside so he can take him to the bathroom. Okay. So yeah, they did have a little bit of a heads up, but it doesn't sound like they actually knew that any sort of decisions were being made. And again, according to Kim, anything about the DP or any of the like punishment stuff was not discussed. It was just like a fleeting statement, and then basically stuff changed. So yeah, hold on one second. A cop broke into my house once. I reported him and they just sent me a check in the mail for $2,000, but denied breaking in. I swear to God, Major Dickey in for Dayton PD. Like Dayton, Ohio? Is that Ohio? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Just insane. Okay, let's continue.
He does care about people. We just get one or two, people who just don't care about the victims and don't care about justice. And it's easy to take the weight out. It's easy to make an excuse.
Who said there were words? And no one ever said that there were words. It was not worded that way. And that's assuming that he's the one who did it. So I don't know.
Say, I'm doing this for the victims,
Probably.
even though I've never interviewed the victims.
No, there's probably going to be a huge crowd there tomorrow outside. It really wouldn't surprise me. People have probably been hightailing it over there for the past 48 hours.
Really top
24-ish hours or 48 probably, depending on who the Goncalves is and the other families told.
Up to them to find out what their true feelings are. So here we are. We're stuck, and we can't get out of it. I ask your audience if anybody knows Judge Hippler, reach out to him and ask him to put his foot down and not accept this offer. It doesn't reflect anything in Idaho. This is not justice. We had an outsider come to our community, kill our kids in their sleep while they're getting a college education, doing everything.
I understand that he's upset, but he can't sit here and keep on saying that they were asleep. I really wish that he wouldn't repeat stuff like that, because that's not the truth. Per the state's own timeline.
They should do, and we don't have the courage to hold him accountable. No plea deal. Let's go for this guy. 100%. Let's do it. And that's how this family stands.
Fox News is in front of the courthouse early as hell, like it's old school Black Friday at Target. That's wild.
Steve, I know that, it's no secret your daughter Kaylee was so close with Maddie Mogen, best of friends.
Right? Like, why can't they do this? Can we just take the DP off so we can get to the trial so that the evidence actually has to be laid out? That would be beautiful. I mean, again, I think that whoever is responsible for this deserves the DP. I'm that kind of person, okay? But they've got to be 1,000,000,000%. And unless we see the evidence, how do we know? We're literally taking the court's word for it. I think the channel's called Docket Decoder. They took something that I love her. What's her name? And Andrea Burkhart, that she said about Hippler being slippery back in like April. It's like a good 17 minutes of her talking about like this kind of stuff happening right now, and about how he basically just wants to take whatever the state says and make it case fact, and he just doesn't care what anybody else has to say. And that's exactly what we've been seeing. He did that with the car information in his damn orders, the last 2 orders. He's just not a good judge. I don't care. Not a good judge.
And I know that you got to know the Mogen family as well. Have you spoken with the Mogen family, and do you know what their reaction is to this plea decision?
We actually just had a meeting with the prosecution and just tore into it and made it clear that we were not in support of this, but we also invited other families into that, and I'll let them speak on their own that were part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I am a DP person. Like I said, it has to be correct, but there's no way that whoever did this, one person or 4, okay, there's no way that whoever is responsible for this deserves to continue life. Okay, because to me, if they're allowed to keep breathing, then that to me means that they probably think that they got away with it. Let's be for real.
But we are in no way alone on this. Multiple families believe the same as we do, but I want to honor their abilities to speak independently and as their child. So I don't want to cross that line, but all I will say is there was no majority for this decision at all.
Which is true.
And if they're not working for us, they're working against us, guys. I mean, we have to wake up to this. I mean, we have to hold people accountable. Coeur d'Alene just had a shooting where we attacked our firemen.
Okay. I'll say this. I have been sent, exactly, Jackie. Like they've literally already admitted that. Even the damn roommates weren't sleeping. Like there's a little bit of break apparently in Bethany's activity, but Dylan's activity never stopped. Never, you know? No, not really. Not really, no. Life in prison really isn't holding anyone accountable because you get comfy in prison. The Goncalveses know this. The Goncalveses talked about it in the very beginning. Because like BTK, it doesn't matter like if there's laws where you can't like get money, you still get notoriety, you still get fan mail, you still get to like hear the TV or probably watch the TV. You get to make buddies because everybody in there is just as you. So no, not really. No. No, not at all. Not at all.
People need to stand up to these monsters and stop freaking bowing down to them and giving them childcare. I mean, prison is nothing but adult childcare.
Let's also remember, though, that he has a brother in prison for pretty positive unaliving someone. Like, I know just a little bit to know enough. I'm pretty sure that's the charge. But he's been in prison and been in prison for a long time.
You get free vision, you get free dental, you get free meals, you get AC, room and board, cable TV, internet access. It's ridiculous what we get.
And that's not a lie. There's literally people in prison right now, like literally in prison for murder, that have active live TikTok accounts. He's not wrong, okay? When my ex, and like whenever I was still with him and he was in jail, even in the county jail, they still had access to tablets. He could pay to listen to songs and rent movies and get on messages and watch TV. It's not as like, oh my God, I'm in shackles, as everyone tries to act. It really isn't. Especially now that people are getting really soft on crime. It's going everywhere. And there's plenty of resources. There's resources available to people that are in prison, but a lot of times they don't even want to utilize them. They'd rather do other things like play cards, make shivs out of magazine paper. I mean, that's what they do. So he's not wrong. This is how I feel. Like, I disagree with him about a lot of stuff. But when it comes to this case being DP worthy and the person or persons responsible deserving that sort of punishment, I've never faltered on that my entire life. Ever. But he's also not wrong. Prison is cushy for a lot of people. And it maybe not at first, but everyone acclimates. Everyone adapts to their environment eventually. Okay. And if you're in there for the rest of your life, oh yeah, you find ways to get comfortable. Let's not pretend. We know that it's true.
Of our prisoners better than what we treat our vets. Our vets coming back from war with missing limbs. This is unacceptable.
Bro, yes. Okay. I don't even follow the damn Wade Wilson case. I just know that Melissa Jade talks about that case, and I see her thumbnails, and I see everything that's like all the drama and all the girlfriends and all the stuff. Yes. That's a great example. He has just like open access to all kind of stuff. I think BTK even has like a lot of access to things and gets people that he talks to. Like a lot of people that have done a lot of really effed up stuff have a lot more conveniences than, again, some of our vets do. Because some of our vets don't even have a roof over their head keeping them out the rain, okay? These guys are getting medical. They get sent to the hospital if they have anything wrong with them. They get dental work done. I know there's a lot of messed up stories, but that's not the majority, especially in these prisons.
Shannon Gray, I'm going to ask you to step in as well. Judge Hippler, Steve just mentioned Judge Hippler in this case. I have to ask you as a matter of law, would Judge Hippler have been fully integrated into this deal plan? Meaning, this is not.
And why is that allowed? That's a great, that should be a law. Like, if you are in there for taking a life, I don't care if it's, I don't care who. I don't care if it's male, child, female. It doesn't matter. If you're in there for something that you did to a person, like an essay or an R or taking someone's life, you shouldn't be allowed mail. Like, hearing from your family is one thing, but getting mail from randoms and pictures and weird stuff, none of that should be allowed. That shit should be put in the damn shredder the second it shows up. The fact that they allow that is the problem. It's gross.
Not a surprise to Judge Hippler. Is he going to have to weigh this and then rule from the bench as to whether he'll accept it or not?
That's
or
what
is
I'm
it
curious
a
about
fait
too,
accompli
actually.
by the time they get this far down the road that the judge will accept it?
Well, I think a few weeks ago, Judge Hippler, talked about
Leilani Simon got convicted for taking the life of her toddler child, and that hooker was standing there with her damn GED. I could give a crap less that you know how to read English after what you have done. And And that's another thing. People like wasting money. People wasting money on people that are literally never going to get out. Why are you going to school? Why are you even allowed to higher your education or heighten your IQ whenever you're not getting out ever and you've taken a life? Why should you be allowed to enlighten yourself? No. See, they're lucky I'm not in charge of this stuff because I'd be bad. I'd be a bad prison person. I would be taking away everything.
Out had there been an offer at all on this case. I think he mentioned it in the courtroom, and maybe that sparked something with the defense and the prosecution. I'm not sure. That being said, with a plea like this, it's with the life sentences and it's agreed upon by the state and the defense. There's small modifications sometimes that they can make to the sentencing.
I'm really bad with time zones, so I have to use time zone math on Google. So that should be happening here my time in about 24 minutes. So I'll grab News Nation and pop it up, and hopefully we'll be able to see it, but I'm watching it on the YouTube thing unless I can find it on their website. Let me look.
Regarding, restitution, some other things like that. But if the state presents sufficient facts to the judge or a plea of guilty to the counts, normally judges will accept that, and they'll let the defense know if they're not going to accept that ahead of time. So I would suspect that the plea will go through on Wednesday, and then they'll set over sentencing for a few weeks, and so the victims can be present to read victims' impact statements, etc. So
Steve, I covered a case where the defendant was so overwhelmingly guilty according to the evidence, and it was a death penalty case in Arizona, and that jury voted guilty, and they did not vote for death penalty. So that defendant, Jodi Arias, sits in a prison in Arizona as we speak, and she had multiple access to appeals. I wonder if there's any solace at all in knowing that this can't happen to him at this point. There can be no appeal. There can be not one squeak from Bryan Kohberger after.
But that's not true. And the fact that Shannon Gray sits there, I mean, I don't remember him saying anything. He might say something here in a minute. I don't remember him saying anything. How long is left? Oh, no, he really doesn't. He must not. That's not true. And I'm going to show you guys a clip that I took from y'all's favorite lawyer, the one that y'all all have crushes on, Peter over there on Lawyer, He was talking with his dad, and there was a couple questions that were coming across about appeal possibilities, and there are a couple. I mean, we sort of knew that already because we looked it up yesterday, that if there are errors in way of the attorneys or the judge, then appeals are possible. So no appeal doesn't mean no appeal. And I don't know why it doesn't mean no appeal. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to tell me, oh, well, he's going to agree to this and he has no appeal rights, but then after doing a little bit of digging and hearing from a few lawyers, you find out that that's not really what it means. Then what's the whole point of it even being labeled as that? It just makes it sound like it's something it's not, which is just stupid.
After he accepts that sentence at the end of this month, unlike what happened in Arizona, where there is always a chance the jury does not choose death. Is there any solace in the fact that you will at least have him silenced and there will be no appeals?
That's not true.
Absolutely zero. None. Could be no farther than how we believe. I want my community support. I want that jury to make the decision, not Thompson. Not some old man who's 70 freaking years old deciding how my daughter's life weighs in a courtroom. That is not justice. That is not justice at all. I'll take my juries. I'll take my peers all day long. I'm sick of one man deciding or one woman deciding what a life's worth.
Okay. That was funny to me because all I could picture is him the other day on Drunk Turkey saying how much he has come to respect these guys for everything that they've done while also blaming them at the same time. So now that he's coming out and being like, you stupid old man, pretty much was funny to me. Okay. It was funny. They are asking for people to go in and sign this if you disagree. I disagree. I think it needs to go to trial. I know the possibility, but how, again, are we supposed to know that this is the right move? How are the families supposed to be okay with this if they're still not shown the proof of anything, the truth of anything? They have played this in the public's face for years, lying to us, covering up things, admitting that things that they have been, just spreading like wildfire are not stopping, even though they've had the capability to this entire time. now they want to scream, oh, this isn't true and this isn't true and that's a false statement. Well, can you tell us which one wasn't? Can you tell us which one was a true statement? Because so far we haven't heard anything that's actually legitimate and truthful. So I'd really love to know. We need a trial. We need a trial. Okay, let me go ahead and get the link. So I was going to put it in the description box at the end, but I'll go ahead and grab it now. This is the link for if you want to submit something to the Department of Justice. This is where it goes. Like you put in right here, like what it is, and you submit it. And yeah, we'll see like if anything happens. Because technically, if they go ahead and go through with this tomorrow, they're saying, I think that he won't be sentenced until sometime towards the end of this month. So we'll see what they end up doing. And they are, I'll go ahead and show this right here real quick. They are giving out like phone numbers and email addresses. I mean, I know that this is like Ada County. This is the Kohberger case email that is on the actual website itself. There's a lot of stuff in here when it comes to like contact information. And it says the number available online for Stephen Hippler is this number. I just don't know if that's like on the directory or if they just like doxed his cell phone somehow because they can claim it's online. I have no idea if it's on the directory or not. So yeah, if you want that information, it's over there. But there's a link in case you guys want to go in there and sign that. I just don't know what they could possibly do. Like, honestly, the Department of Justice, some sort of Supreme Court, like, I don't know how somebody's not stepping in at this point and being like, hold on. Chill out. What's going on here? Are you serious? It's a problem. Okay, so we're going to go back over what Xana's family member said again. I don't know how Kim is related. I don't know if she's from Kara's side or if she's from Jeff's side. I'm not sure. I think they say she's a cousin. We're just going to play this again. Because they are more on the Goncalves' side. So it's like the Chapins and at least Ben Mogen at this point are okay with it. The Goncalves and at least this portion of Xana's family is not okay with it. We haven't heard from Kara and we haven't heard from Maddie's mom either. At least not that I'm aware of. Kim is the aunt. Okay, do you know what side? Do y'all know what side? I think so. Maybe. I know they read all of the charges out. I don't know how it's going to work because he like did the silent thing. Okay, but I don't know if it's on Kara or Jeff's side. Her dad's side. Okay. So Jeff's sister, then I'm guessing to be an aunt. Okay.
They're saying that Xana Kernodle's family also.
I didn't say he was going to. I said that he did last time.
Opposes a plea agreement, or at least part of her family does. The family of Xana Kernodle is livid over the plea deal offered to accused murderer Bryan Kohberger, and they told prosecutors they had better not go through with it.
Wow.
Kim Kernodle, Xana's aunt, who was so furious she was in tears,
aunt.
tells TMZ prosecutors floated the idea of a plea deal a few days ago, and the family made it clear, no way. When we spoke with Kim, she was on a conference call with prosecutors. She says prosecutors told her the defense approached prosecutors. The defense initiated this with a plea deal, and the prosecution went along to spare the families the pain of a trial. Kim says that's ridiculous because at least two of the families Hers and the Goncalves family wanted Kohberger to face a jury.
Yeah.
So that raises the question: was the Chapin family in favor of a plea agreement? Was Maddie
See,
Mogen?
now this was last night. We went over this last night in the members only live, I think. I was going to go live again afterwards, like for like full public, but I just was too tired. I was just too tired. But we went over this one, and that was before the Chapins came out, like with the post from the friend of Ethan's, and said that they were in support of it.
His family may be in favor of a plea agreement.
Yeah, I paused.
Kim says prosecutors were especially concerned that the families would
I
have to
noticed.
see the gruesome crime scene photos of their loved ones, but she says we know the graphics. They were not trying to spare us. Kim also says when her family got a call from prosecutors a few days ago about a deal, they were vague. Prosecutors never mentioned taking the death penalty off the table. What's especially puzzling, Kim says prosecutors.
See, that's a problem. Like, they didn't even bring this possibility up to the family whenever they brought it up. So it's like they dipped their toes in it to see how the families were going to react, and then went hella extreme without even thinking. Because, like, I get it. That I understand that they're not really the victims. They don't get a say. I would get a say in my situation with my ex because I was somebody that he physically, like, attacked. They are the family of the people that lost their lives. So technically they're 1 degree separated from what would consider them a victim under the law. So I know that technically they don't really have to take anything into consideration. But whenever you've been playing games with all of these people for so long, you could at least have the damn common decency. Like, what happened to being like a human? Like, it's just gross. It's so nasty.
Prosecutors told her there was enough evidence to secure.
No, there's no way. Please don't go spreading that around unless you know that for a fact, because I know for a single fact that she's been sober for a good like 17 months at this point. So unless something has happened in the past 4 days, please don't go around spreading rumors that aren't verified.
A guilty verdict.
Okay, yeah. So Xana Palooza is on July the 6th. Her birthday is the 5th, but they're doing this on the 6th. I don't have the calendar changed over to July yet, so I'm not really quite sure what day of the week, like day of the week that is. But that's going to be at the Vantage Point Brewing Co. from 4 to 7. The Kindness Foundation, the Made with Kindness Foundation, is putting that together for Xana. Okay. We're going to get to right here. This is where Lawyer and his dad are talking about how there are a couple different ways that an appeal can still happen. Now, I've had somebody kind of toy with the possibility that because everything that's gone on with the leak, with them completely just throwing out the alternate perpetrator evidence, not allowing him to be able to defend himself hardly at all with the way that they're allowing and not allowing things, the IGG narrative that they basically said, hey, y'all get together and figure out what lie is going to be told on the stand and who's going to tell it. That whole thing is just disgusting. Okay. To me, there's a million reasons to appeal here, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand it. So he's also not the only one that has said this, because there's been a couple different lawyers that have gone on a couple different panels since last night, and they've all basically said the same thing, that there still are ways to have this overturned, appealed, different things. So let's take a listen.
Could he change it in 30 days? Yeah, but you're in trouble.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Now it's on the record. You got to have a real reason.
Right, because there's a presumption that that plea is correct. And
Right.
you're going to have to, the burden is on you then to prove there's something wrong with the plea.
Yeah, like at that point, you've come in and you've already said something crazy, and now like it's no longer on the state. Now you've got to fight it.
From my perspective, unless it's like coercion or he was forced to, or he didn't know, or he was taking new medication and there was some kind of mental disability happening at this point, like it's really, really hard to go back on a plea like this that you put on the record, admitted to those facts that you did. I mean, it's really, really hard. Will he be able to make money from books or movies? How long does he have to change his mind? So, I mean, he could appeal it in 30 days, but realistically, if he signs those documents on July 2nd, most likely that plea deal is going to get locked in. If he takes the plea deal and someone else is found guilty later on, can he be exonerated through that?
Like the fact that like this is even something that we know for a fact happens constantly, and there are still people that even after the right person has been found guilty, they still have not been let out of jail. This is a scary situation because it does happen. I know that it's rare and people are going to be like, oh, there's just no way this is that. Okay, but you don't know until you know, okay? You don't know until it happens. So it's always a possibility. Everything is always a possibility. Everything.
If he gives up his appeal rights.
You know, there's some case law on that.
Usually you can't. Usually there's a way in the interest of justice.
Right. There's some case law on that where people have pled guilty, been sentenced, and then they found the real guy who did it. Or went to trial, a jury convicted them, and then they found the real guy who did it. Actually been instances like that.
And I gave y'all 31 instances of that this morning. In case you didn't see it, I'll go ahead and put a link for it also down in the description box because it was just a simple Google. And it was, what is so insane to me is like the low IQ people that come on a video where I'm literally giving you 31 different names of people who have done just this. And the people in the comments are still, no one that's innocent pleads guilty, while they're listening to me read off 31 freaking people that just did that. Like, I don't even understand humans anymore. And some people think, oh, it's so funny how she always says she doesn't understand. Yeah, it's because I can't fathom the stupidity that it takes to be on that level. Sorry that I can't relate and you're jealous of that. That's the only thing I could think of. Okay, so here's this video. This is 31 different stories, guys. 31 freaking different people that did this. And the last one is wild, okay? The last one is super wild because it's like a group of people, 5 people that were accused of murder. 4 of them went insane and agreed to like take the plea for something that they didn't do. While the 5th person was like, bro, we didn't do this. What are y'all doing? Why are y'all trying to lie? We are not the guilty party here. So they all ended up getting convicted. And then all these years later, DNA proved that all 5 of them were innocent. So collectively, 4 people decided to not only put their own lives in the trash, but drag somebody else along with them because they were too scared to just admit it and fight it. That's insane to me. I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, I'm looking at News Nation to see if there's anything new when it comes to talking to Ramslin, because apparently Ashley Banfield is going to be talking to her. I don't have cable and I don't have a way to like watch it live on here. So if I can't find it, then that's pretty much it. And I'm probably going to go ahead and get off of here because I don't think there's any other updates at this point in time. And there's no reason to waste y'all's time anymore if we don't have anything official. So let me look and see. Yeah. And if anything, we'll just go over, I mean, I know y'all are going to watch it whenever it comes out, but we'll just end up going over it tomorrow. Okay, so somebody named Michael Ruiz just posted that he will not have to explain the crime as part of the plea agreement, according to a source close to the case. So is that something that's like actually being said? See, that's not going to work for me. I can't get behind somebody just being like, yeah, I'm guilty. And then there's no explanation for anything because it happens all the time. Okay, so see, there's people saying that he's accepted it, but I still haven't seen a piece of paper. I mean, I don't even know what to think at this point. The family is further asking the court to require a full confession, full accountability, location of the murder weapon, confirmation the defendant acted alone, and the true facts of what happened that night. Yeah, they just like all of that deserves to be known. And apparently that's not the case. They're literally saying, oh, no details. No details. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's take a little vote ski. Okay, let's take a little vote ski. Put a 1 in the chat if they plead guilty. Let me see how I want to word this. If they plead guilty without allowing or saying that he has to give details, are you going to believe the narrative without the details? Or are you just going to believe that he's guilty without even having any of your answers at all? I'm really curious because that's another thing I want to do before we leave is get some questions written down because there's way too many. And it's disgusting. Yeah, I will no way believe that. Like, if I don't have details, then what do I care? I'm not going to believe it. There's no reason for me to sit there and just believe, yeah, guilty. Why should I believe that? There's too many damn things. There's too many things that don't add up. Okay. So let's write some questions down. And we'll keep note of this. And we'll see who ends up answering what. If anything ever does get answered, we'll see. Let's see what we have. So first off, let's see. How do they word it? We'll just take what they said. How did they word it? Where is it at? They just had it on here. This is not even the right one, is it? I instantly just like lost my place. Okay, whatever. Let's go back to the questions. Okay, so number one, if he did it, how and why? Like, who was the target? Who or what was the target, if any target at all? Because we have to remember that the Gainesville Ripper didn't have a reason besides he was a sick freak. We went over that story because we look at all things here that make sense. And there was no motive there. And he sort of did the exact same thing from, if I can remember our video correctly. He basically was like not guilty or whatever the whole time. Maybe did he stand silent too? I don't remember off the bat. But he stayed quiet or no, not guilty the whole time. And then right before trial, he changed it. So there's that. How can Cy Ray say that he cannot put BK at the scene? So much so, he is risking his entire 20-year career to defend him for free. Tell me how this is. Tell me, how are we supposed to just forget that that's also a thing? How are we supposed to just forget that? Yes, okay. How was there no evidence that linked him to the house, like in general? Because she even said herself, like Ann Taylor has not just said the victims. She has said, does not link him to 1122 King Road. Like she has said that in court. There was no evidence that linked him to the house, in the car, his apartment. There was literally nothing in his office, and it was a shared office. So the entire office space being completely cleaned out and knowing that it was a shared office does not mean that it was clean to hide anything, because it was a shared office. More than one person used that spot. So his office or his parents' house. You just like subbed for 20 minutes just to like yell for me to give up nothing, because he actually hasn't done anything yet, but that's cool. Where's the knife that was bought on Amazon? Actually, that's not a bad question. Let's go ahead and put that, because we know that they have an Amazon purchase on their stuff. Where is the exact knife, sharpener, and sheath? Y'all can't even see this. How do I make this bigger? Okay. Okay. Where is the exact? That was bought. I really cannot type with nails. Holy crap. Bought on Amazon that has been submitted in evidence. The purchase history was submitted in evidence. How did he get back home? Oh, that's a good one. I'll put it down here though. Who was the contact Dylan added to her phone at 3:51 in the morning? And you know what? I want to know the conversation that really went down between her and the damn driver. What was the real intention of the conversation between Dylan and Eric G? Because this is something that I've kind of questioned when it comes to like the other theories, right? Especially since there's no explanation for why the hell we have so much secrecy behind Ethan and Xana. Nothing but secrecy around Xana and Ethan's timeline, but they want to spill every detail about Kaylee and Maddie. That's why I fall in line more with the university doing everything that the university did and the town falling in line because something happened with the frats that night. And this isn't going to change my mind. Unless he comes out and gives details and specifics, then I'm not going to change my mind. There is no information about Xana and Ethan. And even now, up until what, a few freaking weeks ago, when we got the information, her TikTok time was slashed by a freaking hour. We now go back to the 3 o'clock timeline, not the 4 o'clock timeline, but back to the 3 o'clock timeline. Then the DoorDash gets there right at 3:59. And now we're supposed to believe from some third-party boo-boo that Santa's elf over here is the one who actually like stared Bryan in the eyeballs right before he would have gone, and somebody's in the window staring down and watching the whole thing. The whole thing is on crack, okay? The whole freaking thing is on crack, all right? My thing is, what if Xana and Ethan really did get home that night around midnight, the way most people believe because of everything that we've sort of found, and they actually were home already around the 2 o'clock hour, unlike what Judge Hippler said, but whatever happened had already happened and they were in the bedroom. And maybe the whole like going back out to get food thing was really like a ruse that was trying to be, you know, orchestrated to get Maddie and Kaylee out the house while some cleaning up and other things could be being done. And they didn't want to leave. So then plan B, take out the witnesses. I've thought that for a long time, that there was another reason why this happened in two sets. And now with everything and the inconsistencies, and then Dylan being like, oh, well, I saw her on the floor and her head was this way and her feet were this way. And I'm just like, and you didn't call 911 then? You didn't care for 8 hours that she was on the floor? Why? There's just way too much around Dylan and Bethany that has not been answered. Okay, so if he did it, which direction did he really take? And actually, I'll make that a second question. Why did he make the mistakes he made? Which is a lot of mistakes. Okay, let's name those. Turned off cell phone after leaving apartment. I mean, they act like all these cameras, but they still weren't able to identify who the person was in all the camera footage. They had to wait until they had a name from the feds. So the camera footage doesn't really mean a lot to me, but we're going to add it anyway. Drove around several cameras. If stalking, he would have known to avoid. There's also like, since the Goncalveses especially want to keep the whole stalking thing together, we're going to put it in parentheses, stalking in own vehicle with own car traceable, but should know better. Stalking, but should know better. They didn't, and at first they said it was a damn Nissan. The DNA on the sheets does not put him in the house. Your DNA right now is on several different people and in several different places that you haven't even been or that you even know exist. So you might want to go take a shower because you got a lot of DNA on you too. I'm just saying. That part. Are they ever going to actually like admit what the weapon was? What was the actual weapon considering multiple descriptions given. Now and then, and from the defense. What does Kopaka have to do with this? I mean, I honestly don't know, but I find it interesting that Judge slipped up one time and almost said Kopaka. And considering that Kopaka stuff happened in Washington, he would never know that name. So I'll put that in parentheses down here because I know that everything around Kopaka was really odd, especially since everybody had their eyes in that area and nobody knew crap until the footage came out. And then the first time we hear about it was from Kohberger's dad, and the whole thing was just odd. And I know that people have a lot of questions. Did Amazon Prime get the 3D scans of 1122 for their documentary? Or were the interior frames AI generated? Are they different than the blue-gray ones that we've seen? Just the autopsy in general, too, like the toxicology. Because, like, did I spell that right? Yeah. I don't know, like, how they're just going to get away with, like, not... Cyree doesn't place Bryan K at that house, but then Molly and Gilter placing him there let Molly go against Cyree. But that's, yeah, but eyewitness accounts are so crap. Eyewitness accounts are so horrible. I mean, there was even one in the video that I did this morning where this one lady, like the cops even lied. Like they told the court that she pointed this person out in a lineup. And then she came out and was like, I never said that. I never pointed out anybody. So the cops even lied about the eyewitness even being an eyewitness. And also, for those of you that have been following the Jack and Lily situation, I don't know when, definitely not tomorrow because we've got what's going on, but at some point here soon, I would like to go over what I heard earlier today because I've still been listening and trying to figure out what the hell is going on over there. And I'll say that a friend of Michaela, which is the mother of Jack and Lily, and then the Logan, the cousin that was trying to like get Meadow, the baby, to like adopt during all this crazy stuff that's been going on. They themselves were apparently both at the location that Saturday, right? Because the kids were reported missing Friday, and then Saturday all hell broke loose and all this stuff was found and the families tore apart and blah, blah, blah. All they are doing on this live panel, and again, they're claiming that they were both there at the exact same time. They're bickering about the blanket, who did what, when Michaela left, all these things, the car, the phone, all this stuff. They were there, and none of their information matches up. They were there physically experiencing everything that day at the exact same time. And their two recollections in their own brains are off by hours. Details, either the blanket was in a tree, or it was in a trash can, or it was on a railing, or no, it was in the afternoon, or no, it was in the morning. They both experienced this at the exact same time, and their details are nowhere near matching. So eyewitness accounts, memory accounts, I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. Yeah, like what's up with that? I want to know what the fireman and vacuum cleaner situation was about. Type object. Because like they're going to file in a federal court that his constitutional rights were violated to turn over the plea. Very possible. Yeah, I went back in and tried to find it. My timestamps are a little bit different because it's my live stream. So I don't know if this is from like my video that you got this from, or if you got this from another channels. So if you're getting the timestamp for whenever the judge said something about getting a plea or getting an agreement or something together, if it's my video, let me know. If it's another video, then I need to know because the timestamp's not going to be the same. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I have a lot of questions now, especially since like her initials match what we see in the contact information for the girls. I don't remember which one reached out to an MM, but now a lot of people are questioning, is it the DoorDash driver? And the DoorDash was a cover up for something else? Because why would the initials be the same? I mean, it's a whole thing. So we don't know whether it was Maddie that was being reached out to, or if it was this Molly person, just because of the timing. Yeah, lots of questions. Apostrophe R-E, baby. You've got to learn how to spell if you're going to try to talk shit to me, because I don't pay attention to clowns. If that's even true. So I'll put this up. I'll put this up here and say, if Dylan really saw him walk by, why would he just leave her alive? Because it's just odd. Yeah, did he act alone? Like, I was really trying to figure out, like, how could we try to think, like, he could be involved in this somehow? Like, something had to, like, put him somewhere. I mean, I don't really believe that, honestly, anymore, but there's still parts of me that maybe think he had, like, some sort of connection with something. Like, he could have maybe been slipping up again at some point and maybe went to somebody that maybe Molly knew and something transferred that way. Or maybe he's a cleanup dude. Maybe he staged the damn thing. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can maybe try to make this work. But even then, the timelines don't work. The timelines for him being, honestly, anything, this doesn't work. They can't prove he was actually at the location. And no other time frames work because they're not trying to say that he ever actually did anything. I know they're trying to say that he went back between like 9 or 9:30. But how do they actually know that? Because the camera that they're giving us, they still can't even tell us they can see a plate. And this is 9 o'clock in the morning and it's on the interstate. They should be seeing plates. The car's driving back into the neighborhood in the brightness of the sun, and they're still not claiming that's whenever they knew for a fact that it was his car. That's whenever they saw the plate. Because it's daylight now, they can see the driver. None of that stuff is coming out. And so I sort of maybe understand like effed up cameras, at 4 o'clock in the morning. But now we have y'all trying to say that he went back between 9 and 9:30, but you're going off some sort of triangulation that doesn't mean anything. That damn tower could have literally just like bounced his signal back and forth, and he might have not even moved out of his living room. Because who knows, honestly? Who knows, honestly? I feel like there would be too. I feel like there'd be way more than just a little bit. Yeah, the DNA under Maddie's fingernails is interesting because they gave us a couple of names and a couple of ratios for a couple of people. Colby was one of them. I don't like to say under. I want to use the exact verbiage. DNA in Maddie M's left side fingernail clippings. Yeah, I put the thing about the Amazon thing. Yeah, like the clothes. Like if he actually had all these clothes on and really did have like a kill kit, where is it? If he really wore a suit and had a kill kit. Where is it? Because it's not the yeah, I read that earlier. A few minutes ago over here on Twitter. Did they find any trophies? I mean, I don't think so, because they found nothing. Like all of the list and everything that came out, they said they couldn't find anything. Like we even had a dog hair or some sort of animal hair that was found in his apartment that got ruled out. So I'll put any trophies. All right, we're past. Okay. This is wild. See, I don't really believe he said that because they came out and said that this was like in the media and it wasn't true. And that was the literally only thing was the whole, has anyone else been arrested bit? But I'll put it on here because, yeah, I mean, Brian Itten did that and he was like, I heard, but couldn't verify. Well, then shut up because you're the only one that ever said it. See, and I also heard another thing, which is so stupid. There was another thing that came out in an article when I was trying to figure out more information about the William C. Foss person, whoever was the jailer over in Monroe County. There was a rumor in the very beginning that apparently whenever Bryan got there, he was yelling and screaming and threatening the people that worked at the jail. But then the chief was like, no, I can't verify that, or something in the freaking article. I'm like, okay, so we have him asking people for coffee and chit-chatting, and then all of a sudden the rumors go to, oh, well, he's also like yelling and screaming and stuff. Where? So I don't know. I don't know what was the point of anything that came out whenever all of it's been completely redacted again. What pictures? What pictures? Like the ones on the, oh, like what was deleted? What was captured, edited, and deleted from Dylan and Bethany? See, and this kind of stuff is stuff that we would have found out in the trial. Some people are. Some people are plenty happy about it. That's the problem, is all the ceiling. Well, we haven't seen it yet. I don't remember them having anything that I hadn't like already seen. So I don't know. I'll put like AI scans or whatever for right here. But I don't know. There was no, not during the time of the crime. They've never said that he did anything. I try to get y'all's opinion as much as possible because I know that for the majority, y'all have brains. Yeah, I'd love to know that because the state sure stood up and was like, those are false statements. And every time the Goncalves has talked about it, none of the people, no matter if it was HBO or any of the Hulu or whoever, Paramount, none of them, like, they'd always put a disclaimer. Oh, I guess we'll also do this one. Mad Greek rumors, which I don't believe, because if he was really like as ridiculous as they try to claim, he wouldn't go to a restaurant that served lamb. But also some of them aren't as strict as some others, and they would have no issue as long as they just ordered a vegan dish. But then again, I don't really know if he's vegan. I know that an aunt that has been divorced from the family for like ever and a day has said that he was vegan to a certain extent or whatever, but I don't know how true all of that is. Yeah, I added the one about the contact. Oh, Bethany. Yeah, that's on here too. Dylan and Bethany. Like, what did they do? Where? Oh, damn, bro. I know. Murphy, bro. I'm just going to put Murphy in all freaking caps. Because so much changed with Murphy. Like, it went from not really knowing anything. Like, they basically told us that he had nothing on him. But then there were rumors in the very beginning that, like, the dog was freaking missing, and then the dog was found outside of the house at some point. And so all of that got really confusing because that stuff was said early on. A lot of you guys remember that. And then the dog got, like, cleared. They said the dog didn't have any DNA whatsoever. And then we find out, oh, well, first responders, when they get there, Kaylee's door is actually wide open, and the dog's just laying there in the room. Oh, but then the testing on the camera says the dog was actually barking its head off outside the house for 30 minutes almost. So we're just going to freaking sit here and pretend that the dog wasn't barking outside for 30 minutes after SV1 left at 4:20. We're going to forget that that happened because that's the state telling us that. So who would have freaking put the dog outside and then went back and let the dog back in after the suspect already left? I read one article that said he was threatening people, but read others that he was getting threats. I think they switched it around. I mean, honestly, if he yelled and screamed a little bit, and he really is truly innocent and he's frustrated because no one's listening to him, I mean, I'd probably yell. I'd probably yell. No, that's not true. That's a lie. As a matter of fact, I don't remember which one it is, but feel free to go and dig in the public documents. And about 8 minutes before breaking for closed portion. Oh, okay. Feel free to go back and look at the documents, but people in here will remember that we went through the documents and there was a whole entire list of like devices, the dog hair, other strands of hair, presumptive blood that test positive that didn't like actually link him to anything. There's an entire list that we got. I'm pretty sure it was after the venue change. That might be wrong. I feel like it's been a while. It might have been whenever we were still back in Latah County, but it's a public record because we went over it on this channel and they excluded that dog hair in the records. So if they're saying that, then they're lying. Unless there's a new test that was done and it's breaking information and it's brand new and they haven't said a word, they're lying. We already have a document on that one. Okay, so 8 minutes before breaking. Let me go see. Whew. So this would be the pre-trial hearing. So like 8 minutes before breaking. It broke at 20-ish. So we'll go back to here for a minute. I always pull the transcript just to see if it'll catch it. Declaration. I'll look up that word. Let me go back this way. Ugh. Transcript. Oh, well, let's see what this says.
Let alone wagging the dog. So, but I'm not going to make you tell me that now, but I will ask you time as well on sentencing, right? In that case, I just want to get, before we get to that, defense's position on sentencing for the burglary charge.
Okay.
They have concerns about sentencing at that time as well, given that it's probably not even a tail wag on the dog, let alone wagging the dog. So, but I'm not going to make you tell me that now, but I will ask you before the jury goes out what you want to do.
Okay, so this is going to be a separate subject now. And this is where he brings it up. Speak, bro.
I'm going to hand you another piece of paper that I would like to get back from the defense sometime in late June or early July, which is a declaration of last best offer. In other words, identifying whether the defendant received an offer and whether he has accepted, rejected, etc. Just so that for purposes of post-conviction, we've documented that. Okay.
And they sure did start this late June, early July. Damn. Interesting. So the defense is the one that was asked to turn in this paper. So is this an actual like accepted plea deal? Or is this just them turning in what they were told to turn in from the judge? And now they're bringing it in front of the court. Yeah, but it's like, it's the first one too. And the timing is, yeah, it's interesting. It does me too. Yeah, because like half the families are not okay. I'm confused too, because now I'm like, okay, now that I'm listening to this, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for finding that. I had been trying to find this since I heard Shannon Gray mention it. And then Lisa emailed me and she was like, did you see this? And I was like, girl, I've been trying to find it. I can't find it. I'm going to try to keep looking. I guess I was just looking up the wrong word, I guess. Because I was looking up agreement, plea deal, stuff like that. But yeah, that's wild. So considering this is happening at the exact same time that he said to turn this paper in, was this homework that got turned in and nothing's actually happening? Like, did the defense just like, okay, well, the judge wants like something from us in way of what we will accept. So at the last stretch, what would be your accepted plea? And then the state's like countering, and now they're going to argue it. But does this actually mean that he's accepted it? Yeah, we went over that in the beginning. It really doesn't make sense for the way that the family received the letters. AT1, if it was her job to save his life, she tried to shut down at every motion, and the option was to ask for a plea. I mean, I understand that, especially since now, like that's kind of like where I was at. I was like, is this because of what's going on with the motion to continue, with the way that all of a sudden his behavior is changing with the leak, the way that he's acting about the alternate perpetrators, the way that he is not giving them a literal inch? Is this just like the only thing that she knows what to do? Because if she allows the judge to continue what the judge is doing, this was going to end up just like Richard Allen, with them literally not even able to ask specific questions, just vague and nothing. And what would be the point in that? It's just a lot. It is interesting. Yeah, you're right. It really hasn't been. But this seems... Play it again. Show wheel. Clip this hoe too, and I'll pop it up in the morning. What I'll end up doing is probably coming on about 30 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on what I do in the morning before everything happens. But yeah. Okay. So they're talking about the burglary charge up here and how it doesn't matter. And then he starts with, I'm going to hand you another piece of paper. So I'll do this for you guys, since this is starting right at 2:12 and 8. This is the link. This goes straight to it. This is our live stream back on May 15th. And again, thank you so much for getting that damn timestamp. Ready? We're going to listen again. Turn it up because he whispers.
Hand you another piece of paper.
20 feet away from the damn mic.
The defense sometime in late June or early July, which is a declaration of...
And that's exactly the time frame. Like I said, and I can't show you, but like I said, on the 26th, I was told that the next day the families were meeting with them, and that was the 27th. And now here we are on the 1st, and this shit's going down on the 2nd.
Last best offer. In other words, identifying whether the defendant received an offer and whether he has accepted, rejected, etc. Just so that for purposes of post-conviction, we've documented that.
So fill out this paper to let me know if you have been offered anything, if he's rejected anything. That's what that's for. Oh, look, there's Twizzy. This is the one that Twizzy was at. Yeah.
We have concerns about sentencing at that time as well, given that it's ask you before the jury goes out what you want to do. I'm going to hand you another piece of paper that I would like to get back from the defense.
Look at Santa staring at him over there. I mean, staring at Ann.
Sometime in late June or early July, which is a declaration of...
No, it's live streaming tomorrow. We read the order earlier. It's going to be live streaming, and then there's going to be a pool photographer.
last best offer. In other words, identifying whether the defendant received an offer and whether he has accepted, rejected, etc. Just so that for purposes of post-conviction, we've documented that.
Meaning if he is found, like, because at this time they were still planning on going to trial. So basically saying that if he's been offered something and he's rejected it and then we go to trial, he can't try to say, oh, well, I was never given any sort of plea deal. This is proof that, yeah, there was or there wasn't a plea deal is what that sounds like too. But still, like the time frame is right now of whenever it was supposed to be being turned in. Yeah, formality is what it seems like. Yeah, just one pulled camera and then it's going to be live streamed. No appeal doesn't technically mean no appeal. We went over something that was said on Peter Tragos's channel, Lawyer You Know, with his dad. I think it was last night. And they went over a couple different ways that you can still appeal. Like there's like a 30-day thing. And then we found out that if there's like really bad errors, really bad issues with the attorneys, with the judge themselves, like there's still ways. That's why the whole like, oh, no appeal thing, there's still ways to appeal. So why are we putting that sort of weight on something if that's not really truly what it is? Because again, it's not just them, like it's several different lawyers over the past like 24-ish hours that have been out sort of talking and, you know, saying things and saying, yeah, you can still do this, you can still do that. So it's just, it puts some weight on stuff and it's just odd. The timing and everything is just strange. Okay. Somebody said something about News Nation's already mentioned. Something about Ramsland. So let me go over there and see if anything is showing up. Because I would like to see what she has to say. I don't see anything new. Unless it was alive. No, that's about alligator Alcatraz. That shit's wild. I've really just been kind of like staying off of the politics because there's just a lot of cray shit going on. But I don't see anything yet. So I guess we'll just have to wait until it pops up. But somebody in here made a comment that she had said something about asking him questions that she says she can now ask because she's no longer a witness or something like that. It was on the live. Okay. Yeah, I haven't had cable in probably over a decade. I don't do none of that. I do all the streaming services, but I don't pay for the extra streaming services because that's just a waste of money. It's just a waste. Producer page. Ooh, okay. Oh, I probably don't need this since it's going to be something I have to read. I'm guessing that means on Twitter. Producer Paige, is that her name? I'll say this too. Paige Lobdell. Somebody that works with Ashley Banfield that was trying to get a statement. I'll just say from who? From Kara. I'll just tell y'all from Kara. And the very first thing that she like said to her, not like recently, but like a couple months ago, she tried to get a statement from Kara, and how she reached out to Kara was like, are you still using? That's how they reach out to the victims' families whenever they don't like them. This was Ashley Banfield's like assistant. That's how she reached out to Kara, trying to get Kara to answer some questions for her. Yeah, that's how disrespectful these pieces of shit are. So whenever I see Ashley Banfield and she's like, oh, I just feel for you and you're the first person that I wanted to talk to. Yeah, because your assistant sure is a piece of shit. Okay, so let's see. Get this bigger. And I'll read this. Okay, so all right, there's a few here. As of 22 minutes ago, so I'll read them up, I guess. Let's see. I will make sure there's no comments from her because sometimes they'll like Okay, so it's gonna be on YouTube shortly, as of 2 minutes ago. So we can hang around for like a few minutes and see. It's 9:34. Yeah, we can hang around for a little bit, but we'll read this until it shows up. So Dr. Catherine Ramsland is live on News Nation right now. Will be posted to News Nation YouTube shortly, and I'll share the link. She'll share the link. It says Dr. Ramsland describes Bryan Kohberger as polite, respectful, intense, and curious. She says when she looks back, nothing really stands out to her, which says a lot because she does this for a living. Dr. Ramsland says, looking back, some of the things that interested Bryan Kohberger now gives her pause. Which is it? Are you freaking serious? Did we really just read two completely oppositional 180 statements and in 2 seconds of each other? When she looks back, nothing really stands out. When she looks back, something gives her pause. Which is it? Already, I'm so like, ugh. She says he wanted to study offenders and what their thought process was. She wonders, did I inspire him in some way? Dr. Ramsland says when she first heard that Bryan Kohberger was arrested, she was completely floored. Does that say freaking flowered? That's not how you spell that. Floored. But, you know, you make the big bucks over there. Dr. Ramsland says she's interested in studying Bryan Kohberger if he wanted to. She says the purpose would be to study the developmental triggers to see red flags faster and prevent people from wreaking havoc in the future. She says she has questions for him that nobody else but her could ask. Oh, because you're special because you study psychopathic serial killers all of a sudden? You think you're the only one that has good questions? So she's like automatically just like, must mean this. Hardly. Literally hardly. Okay, so I guess we'll just like hang out here until it pops up, which it should be soon. I guess I like can watch her page too. She goes, I'll post the link here in a minute. Yeah, like which one is it? Did she not have pause on anything, or did she have pause on something? Like, can we please get a little bit of consistency here? I'll share the link here. Yeah, where? I guess I should just go to her page and just like, it's been like 15 minutes though, as quick as they want to act like they are. Yeah, so I don't know if it's her, but I just know that Ashley Banfield's assistant talked like that to Kara, and I was just like, wow. Absolutely disgusting. I guess I've missed a lot because I've been talking and realized I've been missing a lot of colory stuff. So I guess while we're waiting, I'll go in here. We'll just start back from the top. Thank you again for joining, Miss G. Don't forget to check out last night's Members Only Live, and we go live members only on the last Monday of the month. 11 months. Hey there, Corinne. Thank you very much. I also want to play something that Corinne said something about earlier about Mark Gyarados, I guess is, is it Gyarados or Garagos? I guess whenever I think of Garagos, for some reason, it reminds me of a Pokemon. So I guess that's why I always think that that's like wrong or whatever. If I can find the right link, because I think I saw what she was talking about with Ashley Banfield, I think was talking to Mark Garagos, and he said something about how, I mean, I know people think however they want to about him, but I still find it interesting that he came out and was talking on this case in like the very beginning and talking about how, you know, there was stalking and all this other stuff involved. And then he comes out now and he's like, it's circumstantial at best. Which one? Which one is it? So we're going to try to find it here in a minute. Yeah. Tomorrow we're going to see what's going on, but now I'm just a little bit more confused. Still confused. Thank you again for the $1.99 and letting me know about the statement. If you guys missed the statement from Bryan Kohberger's family, we read it at the top of the live. So it's up there. You have to go back about an hour and a half probably. Thank you for joining, Gina. Thank you so much. Again, 18 months. That's great, Southern Sass, that you've been here so long. Thank you again for the $10, Gina. Yes, and thank you again for the $4.99. I've got something to say. Hopefully we can catch it here soon because she did say that it would be popping up here real soon here. Yeah, the numbers and the emails. And again, if you guys missed it, there is a link in the chat, or you guys can go over to the Goncalves family Facebook page. It's a public page. I think you probably do have to be logged into Facebook. I don't really know. Anyway, they are trying to get people that don't want this to happen this way, that want this to go to trial, so that the evidence has to come out to sign a letter that gets sent off to the Department of Justice. So hopefully something moves with that, because I want to see the proof. This isn't enough for me. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Deal statement, your pretrial vid. Okay, you saw it too. Okay, so y'all did see it. See, like I said, I tried to go in there with the transcript and I just wasn't finding it. Thank you for the 199, Aurora. I appreciate that too. Thank you for joining, Gina. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the 499, Mama J. So does this mean that the G's have to pay back all the GoFundMe money they got for the trial? See, I don't know. Like, because they're not the only family that money was raised for. So I guess if people want a refund, they should be obligated to at least acknowledge that, since the trial isn't happening. But I'm pretty sure that most people are going to be like, I donated y'all that money a long time ago, just keep it. Some people might want it back, some people might not. I honestly feel like the majority aren't going to want their money back. This is my all-time favorite channel. We love you, girl. Well, thank you for being here for 6 months, a member for 6 months. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for the 1999, Miss G. Make no mistake, this is not him admitting guilt because he's guilty, but the only way to get the DP thrown out and get in front of the higher court, he can still appeal under certain circumstances, even though he waived. This is true. And I'm really glad that some of y'all came in here actually knowing that, because I've been combating comments all day. I'm like, please go to Google and just like search it. Like, even if you like don't think he's innocent and think that this is all completely dumb, don't come over here just like saying things that you're not sure of as an actual fact whenever it's not true, because it puts a lot of weight on things that's not necessary. It really does. Yeah, we know that the defense went to it, but now I'm really confused about this paper and the deadline. It sounds like a homework assignment. Thank you for the $4.99, Tammy. I see there's a lot of questions about the GoFundMe money. I know, because they raised a lot. And it wasn't just one. There was one for the private eye. There was one to pay off the Range Rover, then the one for the trial. And not just like the money. They're getting gift cards. They're getting money sent to them. They're getting free room and board. They're getting a lot when it comes to this. Definitely more than the other families have. But yeah, now with it coming, I don't know. I really feel like, again, it's up in the air. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to want to take it back, which I completely understand. This isn't the way that it should have gone. I'm mad for them, even though I haven't agreed with the way that they've acted about stuff. I'm mad for them. I've been in this situation where I felt like we didn't matter literally at all, and they just wanted to check off another one, add another notch. That's all they care about. It's all numbers. Literally all numbers. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker, Miss G. Thanks for all you do, Jules. You rock. Well, you rock for being here, Deb, especially since you've been here for, a member for almost a year. That's crazy. Can't the families veto this plea bill? Thank you for the $2 scary, stupid, strange. That's a cool name. That's what they're kind of trying to do. That's what they're kind of trying to do with, I guess, trying to like rally people together to sign this thing and get a hold of the Department of Justice. It seems like that's what they're trying to do. Thank you for the $10, Connie. Great job. Part of the plea agreement, BK will not have to tell what happened. I know, that makes me so mad. I heard that on the news channel today. We will never know what happened to these kids. R.I.P. Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie. Yeah, that's why I'm really confused. Because I'm like, okay, did he have to like give them something and now the state's just coming back with something like hella extreme and no, he's not going to agree to? Because how do we know he's actually accepted it if under the seal, under the gag order, none of the official entities are really allowed to say anything? I guess we'll see. We'll see. Thank you for the $5, Miller Time. Steve G did mention how it seemed like the business was being put ahead of the victims in an interview. Yeah, like in the very beginning, he did make statements about the college, but then it didn't last very long. And then it all went away, and he had a super hard focus on stuff that wasn't true, that he then later said was because the state wasn't giving them information. So, of course, they're going to just come up with things, which you can't just go around just throwing a bunch of incorrect information everywhere. Thank you for the $2, MV. Do you have an email I can send something to you? Here, I'll put it right here. O.M. Jeebus. I need to shorten these. I feel like I could not type. There you go. Just keep in mind, I really try not to click any links. Like if there's something that you want me to look at, you can send me directions. You can tell me where it's at, tell me who, the title, the names, or whatever. But I really do my damnedest not to click any links. I really, really do. Does his shoe print fit the cleanup? 5 months, Aunt Boo Boo. That's a good question. Let me go ahead and write that in there when it comes to the single latent shoe print. Does it match BK? I'll put this up here, actually, because this is like, move some stuff around. Da-da. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions. And again, in the comments, I'll go in at some point tomorrow after the hearing and see if there's any other questions and add those to it. Thank you for the $2, Jules. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the $1.99. I think you traded the knife for something at Sigma. If BK is the guy, you think he traded it or somebody else traded it? Because I know that the question that we were talking about around that time was like, where is it? So I guess that's maybe a thing too. It could have been something that maybe he did own in the past and he traded or sold for something. That is something that a lot of people wondered. It's very possible. Thank you for the $5 dreams. Or, like I said before, like Molly. Because Molly has been pulled over in Pullman and she gets pulled over in Moscow. So if she's doing something shady, because we don't know this woman from nothing, okay? If she's doing some shady shit, she could be somebody that maybe he got in contact with. We don't really know. We really don't know at all. Thank you for the $5 dreams. Visuals mislead. Audio reveals the truth. Timeline is off. A woman's voice instigates murders. Main suspect didn't act alone. Truth is in sound. I know that Murphy being outside barking for 30 minutes after their own suspect vehicle left is a big issue for me. And like, who is the one who ended up leaving, like bringing him back in? Because if he, let's say he was outside on Kaylee's balcony, like on that the back balcony, that would still mean that Dylan and or Bethany would have had to have walked from the first to the second to the third floors, right? So we're just supposed to forget that all that happened? That's what's wild to me. That's what's wild to me. Thank you for the $4.99. I've got something to say. Yes, it sounds like what the judge said was that the state has to prove that they made their best offer to BK after the trial documentation. It does. But in the timing, that's why like tomorrow needs to come on because damn. Thank you again for the $4.99. So maybe this is because the state must provide him with a plea offer and they're having a hearing for BK to stand up and say no thank you. Very possible. Because again, on the live we did yesterday, you guys heard me call. They can't give me info. She said, send the email. I sent the email and got like an instant response that we looked at and read on the live that they don't have a response to nothing. So I don't know because this is a literal change of plea. So they're labeling it change of plea, which sort of does lean towards something was accepted. If you pay attention to the verbiage. But that doesn't technically, I guess, mean that because the judge still has to approve stuff. So maybe it's just a hearing for possible change of plea based off of the offer. That's why I wish that they would have just came out and told us all the information just here and now and do a press conference. Why couldn't the page have gone live? Why couldn't Xana have put out a statement? The whole thing is just insane. Jules, have you gotten permission yet? No. No, I have not gotten permission yet. Okay, so I'm not going to say it. And if you know, you know, I'm not going to repeat it. Okay, I'll say this. Depending on what happens tomorrow, I'll say it soon. Because this is actually like a really big deal. And if people knew this, then their corruption meter would probably go past their brains. And the thing that's really crazy to me is that I know that all of the families know this, which means that I don't see how certain creators don't also know this. Unless just like me, they're not wanting to say anything just yet because of everything that's like already been going on because of everything going on. But now with this going on, soon. I'm not going to have a choice. I'm not going to have a choice. It's going to have to be soon, especially after tomorrow. Before sentencing, if he takes the plea tomorrow and there's a sentencing thing, I will definitely say it in its own damn video with the screenshot that I have before the sentencing. Thank you for becoming a member, Heatherlicious. Welcome back, Jen and James. And speaking of, again, if y'all missed it, there are people here in this chat, on this channel, that have gone through being pressured into taking a deal, even though they did not do anything, because that's how the system works. There are people in this chat watching this right now that you chat with every single day that have gone through this shit. This is not just something that we're seeing on the news. This is real life. It's disgusting. Thank you for the $2. Heads are better. Love your channel. I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, you, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? Thank you for the $4.99. I think Hitler destroyed Anne's case leading to this. I mean, he sure didn't help. He's very biased. He's very, 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 very biased. Thank you for the $2, Rosie. Thank you, Jules, for your caring. I just want the facts. I want the facts in the purest form possible. There's just no excuses for a lot of stuff. There really just isn't any excuses. Thank you for the $5, Danny. Chewing my Xana. Oh, you're Xana. Chewing your meds and pre-medicating for the AM. Here's a coffee on me for tomorrow. Everyone, please like. Still wonder if he'll appear to WP. Oh, if he'll disappear to witness protection. A lot of people are curious about that, especially people that are on the whole, there's something else going on here. But I don't really know if that's the case. I don't think that they would do that at all. I think that they would just stick him in prison. I think people like Epstein get whisked away to that, possible. I know what they've been saying, but I know somebody's ears don't change just because they're no longer breathing. I'll say that. So I don't know. But I know that like whenever people are meant to be forgotten, they make sure that they are forgotten. 6 no male DNA. They don't question that. Yeah. I wonder if he's going to implicate someone else. I don't know. I mean, if he has information, he sure needs to come on with it because all this has been really dumb. Thank you for the $5, Marcy. Appreciate that. I mean, I know a lot of people. I personally, unless they were really, really, really threatening me with like my kids, I wouldn't. But they do that. They will come at you where you are the most vulnerable because they don't give a damn. You are nothing. We are nothing. Don't think for 1 second that anyone cares about you because they will cut you the second that they've got the chance to, especially for this kind of situation that could destroy an entire county. Okay. Oh yeah. You ain't nothing. 17 months. 17 months. Thank you for all your time and hard work. Thank you for being here and caring. Thank you for being in here and caring, Miss Lindy. Who blocked you? Who, Homa? I don't know. I never heard no semi-automatic at 3:51 in the morning, so I don't have any clue. I've listened to that stuff over and over again. Yeah, Epstein was Mossad. That's not a falsity. Not direct evidence would be beautiful. Direct evidence that they could not sugarcoat, that they didn't have to dance around. Direct evidence would be beautiful. I am still waiting. I guess they haven't posted it yet. See, this person said they watched it and she's smiling ear to ear. Well, I wish you'd hurry up and post the link. Flowered. You know what? I'm gonna be a smart ass because I can't help it. Where she said flowered, I put this little dude because it's hilarious to me. Okay, let's see. Did they have a link anywhere? That's the thing I just checked on. And again, like, nothing gave you pause or something gave you pause. Like, which one was it? Great job, Brian Enton. You really kissed ass. You saw how he posted something earlier. I put it in the community tab where he was like, this is my personal opinion. And I'm just like, go shut up. Because you've been literally just following in line with everything they've been saying this whole entire time. Don't act like you have questions now. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Well, I guess this is like maybe a possibility that something is about to like come up. Is this where she's on it? There's Enton. That's Jesse Weber. Pretty sure that's his name. He's in Florida. Yeah, Jesse Weber. Okay, so I guess we'll watch this one to see what they're talking about for a minute, and then maybe after this one is whenever they're going to end up posting the one with
For more than 2 years, actually, it's been now. Bryan Kohberger insisting that he is not guilty of murder, that police have the wrong man, that he was out looking at the moon and stars. Remember that one?
It's actually
He
not
was out
specifically what was
stargazing
said, but that's
while
fine.
4 college students were being slaughtered, and most recently, that as many as 4 alternate perpetrators could be responsible. Kohberger is planning to say, in effect, never mind. I want to change my mind about all of it, change my plea to guilty times 4. And interesting to note, Kohberger never verbally pleaded not guilty. Remember this, at his arraignment,
Silent.
back in May of 2023, he stood silent. We made a big deal of that. He stood silent. The judge entered the not guilty pleas for him.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens tomorrow? That is the big question. I want to get to Jesse Weber. He is an attorney and News Nation legal contributor. Jesse, I'm curious your take. Is there any chance, does Kohberger have to talk tomorrow? I guess that's my question. Is there any chance that his lawyer could just do the talking and we don't even hear from Kohberger?
I believe he has to. Why? Because it's not like he's pleading not guilty. He's pleading guilty as part of a plea agreement. And one of the things under Idaho law that the court has to do is say, Mr. Kohberger, did you make this voluntarily? Do you understand your rights? Do you understand the consequences? Was anything promised to you? His lawyer can't answer that on his behalf. The judge has to hear it from Bryan Kohberger himself. So the idea that he would answer all those questions and then when asked, how do you plead? And he just stands silent, that's not going to happen. He'd have to have verbally say guilty. Otherwise, a plea would be entered on his behalf. So I believe tomorrow we are going to hear Bryan Kohberger say guilty. The reason he stood silent the first time was for whatever bizarre reason he chose not to do it. But maybe he didn't want to jeopardize his case in any way. The whole game has changed. So I think we're going to hear him say guilty.
Yeah.
So in terms of what sort of changed here, because I
Me
was
neither.
always under the impression there wasn't going to be a plea deal. Things have changed in the last week or so. One thing that happened was this alternate perpetrators theory. The defense wanted to bring in 4 alternate perpetrators, people who they thought could be responsible for the crime. The judge said absolutely not. There's no way. Do you think that's what moved the needle here and why the defense decided, I think we want a plea?
Yeah, I think so, because even if we don't know what they turned in. The judge could be not ruling correctly based off of what's being actually turned in because it's going to blow the cover up. Okay, we know how Judge Hippler entered into this case with disgust. Well, I'd like to say that I'm happy to be here, but I'd be a lie. Well, why are you a judge then? Keep your freaking hand off your face and actually pay attention. Instead, he makes this so impossible because he says something in court and then here comes the black and white text and he completely changes everything he just said. He has been unreliable and inconsistent since the very beginning of this. The very beginning.
There's a number of factors. First of all, he had a mountain of evidence against him. That was never
Yeah.
changing. Number 2, he failed in delaying the trial, citing media coverage. And then the last thing, right? The alternative perpetrator theory. I'm going to point the finger at 4 other real individuals. You know how angry that makes me, Brian? Because let me tell you something. As an attorney, everybody's entitled to a defense, sure. But just days before...
And you know what? I know. I really freaking thought that the Goncalveses would have been the ones to like give them the physical letter because they're not under the damn gag order. And unless there's some sort of stipulation that was written in the letter itself or in the email about them sharing it and them getting in trouble, which I doubt because they instantly came out here doing this. Okay. Like pretty damn instantly. Where is the email? Because it was an email with a letter attached. I really wish that we had seen it. You're not wrong. Like, I've been wondering where it's at the whole time. I wish somebody would show it. None of them have. They've like quoted a couple of sentences out of it, but no one has shown it, which is interesting.
He's planning to point the finger on people who had a social connection to the victims or knew somebody in passing, and days later he goes, no, I'm pleading guilty. This is not a case of him saying, I'm totally innocent, I'm getting railroaded, I have no choice, I'm facing the death penalty, I have to just plead guilty to save my life. No. He's basically saying, I did this. I murdered 4 people, and I was going to blame other people at my trial.
No, that's not technically what is being said, because you don't know the evidence either. So to sit there and just say that this all is completely, bogus for no reason is really a dumb thing to say, because we don't know. We don't know what the frick was turned in. We don't know what the evidence was. We don't know why all of a sudden the change. We don't know if the leak and the special prosecutor that came in found a bunch of crap. Like, we don't know what's going on. So for him to keep to theme, or at least say that he was going to keep to theme by getting more information from the people on the stand, I don't see the problem with that.
This makes him more of a monster than he already was. So yeah, he had no choice at this point. I completely get why he took a plea, and he's trying to literally save his own life right now.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me angry too, especially because some of those names, and we're obviously not going to name them, but they are people who I spoke to early on.
And boy, right here is the big one. Itten's the big one.
This before Bryan Kohberger was arrested, and they are people that literally have nothing to do with the murders. I mean, you don't have to do much investigating to realize that they didn't do it. There's no motive. Many of them have alibis.
Yeah.
There was DNA. There was DNA testing they did, and fingerprint testing. And you're right. I mean, it makes your stomach turn to think they wanted to bring those names in the public way, in a public trial like this. It really is upsetting. Just my last thing, with the delay. They wanted the delay. That was one of the last things the defense asked for. Just real quick, do you think if they got the delay, we wouldn't even be here?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know why they've been allowed to come out and talk and do anything whenever they were on the 911 call. Like, they should be. I know. I agree.
They wouldn't even be asking for a plea deal?
There's a chance. I mean, they wouldn't have asked for a plea deal, push it down the road, try to see if they could say that a jury would be tainted, try to manipulate the case in some way, but the evidence doesn't change. The DNA, the cell phone evidence, the surveillance footage, the car, the eyewitness testimony, none of that goes away. And they tried to get some of that thrown out, wasn't working. I think this trial was either going to happen or he was going to plead guilty. And obviously, you can make, from a legal point of view, you understand why he did it, because there was a strong chance of conviction and a strong chance the jury was going to come back and vote in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah, and here we are with the plea deal. Jesse Weber, appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's just a whatever person. All right, let's see if they've posted anything here yet when it comes to the link. Okay, another one. Oh, okay. So now they're just like back to back posts and clips. It should be coming up. Okay, this is the next one. This one is about, Jeff is talking. Okay. We had Xana's aunt Kim, and now we have Jeff, apparently, which is Xana's father. Apparently he's going to say something. Is he going to come out here and talk, or is it just a statement? Let's find out.
But not all of the victims' families feel this way. Ethan Chapin's mom told me that her family will be attending the hearing tomorrow in the courthouse and that they support the plea deal. She said they are coming here in support of the plea deal. And Maddie Mogen's father told the Idaho Statesman newspaper that he supports the deal if it means avoiding a trial that would reopen old wounds. I can also confirm that Bryan Kohberger's family will be at the hearing tomorrow, although their family attorney issued the following statement. We just got this statement a little while ago. I'm going to read it to you. It says, in light.
And we did cover this at the very beginning, because I've got something to say. Informed me at the top of the live that this was on Brian Itten's Twitter.
Of recent developments, the Kohbergers are asking members of the media for privacy, respect, and responsible judgment during this time. We will continue to allow the legal process to unfold with respect to all parties and will not release any comments or take any questions We ask that you respect our wishes during a difficult time for all of those affected. Again, that statement just came in. Joining me here right now in Boise tonight is national reporter
Me
for the New
too.
York Times, Mike Baker. Mike, it's always nice to see you.
Mike Baker commented or made post on this case in the very beginning, and there was a lot of stuff that I had to argue with him about on Twitter. I know that about this name for sure, a long time ago.
Mike and I have sat together in many of the court hearings here. You've sort of been like my seatmate here and also in Moscow. I'm curious what you think about tomorrow. You know, we know there's going to be the plea deal, but do you think we'll hear a confession? Do you think we're going to get details about a motive and what actually happened?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is I think Judge Hippler actually.
Now, I know that a lot of people think that that was it, but that's not the letter that was read, was not the one that they got. The letter that was read from Kevin Fixler on Courtroom Confidential last night was the letter that was written by Aubrey Goncalves, the youngest, I believe it's Aubrey, the youngest that's like 18. She wrote a letter so that her absence was not a true absence at the meeting on Friday. She wanted her position stated. So that was the letter. We went over that last night trying to see if he actually had the email, and it wasn't. It was the one that was already on the Goncalves' Facebook page that they posted from the daughter.
Actually has an option here. I was looking back at some of the more high-profile cases
Why are you here then? Because obviously you've been sort of like not paying attention. We've literally stated that if he comes out and gives details and actually gives the story, then there won't be any excuses because it's going to be him literally detailing what happened. But if he comes out and it's just like, yeah, guilty, and he doesn't have to give any details, you'd be a damn fool to sit there and believe it. So you can come over here and be sarcastic all you want to, but this really proves that you haven't paid a lick of attention to a damn thing being said, not just on this channel in general, but tonight. So you might want to catch up.
resulted in a plea agreement, and one of the ones that stood out was the BTK serial killer. I mean, I was looking back through the transcript of that hearing, and it was extremely detailed. I mean, the judge in that case accepted the plea and then asked a range of questions. How did you identify your victims? Each one went one by one. What kind of methods were you using? What kind of tools were you using? Why? And that case lasted a long time. That hearing lasted a long time, got into a lot of horrific things. So I think
Yeah, on the 11th, July 11th. And I'm going to do the way that I did before. I can't show it because it's going to be in Amazon and it could get my channel taken down if I show it. But I watched it live and just sort of like reacted while you guys were watching along. And it was like a whole thing. So I think it's like 3 episodes. So depending on how long the episodes are and what day it actually drops, I don't know if we're going to watch all 3 or if we're going to do separate lives for all 3. Which will probably happen again, depending on just like how long they are. Because if it's like an hour, there's going to be breaks. We're going to pause. We're going to talk. We're going to discuss, and then like need to take a break from the computer. So we'll figure it out.
that is an option for Judge Hippler, but as you noted, like this plea agreement doesn't require that of Bryan Kohberger, doesn't have to say anything. The Idaho rules of criminal procedure don't spell out a sort of requirement for them to, a defendant to have to spell out the details of what had transpired.
Steve. It's been Steve from day one.
But it'd be interesting to see if Judge Hippler takes the step of demanding some answers in this case.
I'm wondering if Judge Hippler is watching some of the statements from the families who want answers, and they take that into consideration tomorrow, knowing that they're not happy, some of them with.
I actually agree with this. Me and my buddy have been talking about for over a year now about how Ann Taylor just does not sound like she's going to be able to really deliver what needs to be delivered in the courtroom if this went to trial. And a lot of people have been talking about that. A lot of people.
With the plea deal, I'm thinking, let me do this for them. Let me go a little farther and see what I can get out of Kohberger.
Yeah. I heard today from Xana Kernodle's dad, Jeff, and he really actually brought up that exact thing. He just.
No, he has not confessed yet. He has not confessed. There has been no confession. All they said is that he was going to accept a guilty plea. Accepting a guilty plea is not a confession. So no, there's no confession. That could change tomorrow. We could go live and he could stand up and start singing like a damn canary. Okay, we don't know. But as of right now, no, that's not the case.
Agreed with the prosecution's decision in this case to do this plea deal. He thought, one, there was this measure of accountability that was necessary. He sort of implied a talk of deterrence, that someone who commits this kind of crime needs a level of accountability so that others won't do it. But the other thing he did bring up was he was disappointed that the plea deal didn't require something of Bryan Kohberger.
Right, Mikey. But she also had her own money. Like, from what I'm understanding, she cashed out her 401k. She went broke as a joke in order to pay for her defense team. And it's different here because he's got a public defender. So there's a big difference.
Of saying, here's why I did it, giving these families some answers, because they've spent these 2.5 years really in the dark as to a motive or any reasoning as to why their sons and daughters were killed.
Are you surprised? I mean, you've been on this case since the beginning. Were you surprised when you found out about the plea deal? Were you planning on there being a trial?
I mean, I was expecting a trial after the last few weeks. At the same time, I'm usually not surprised at a plea deal in a murder case. You know, it's often an off-road for the prosecution to provide certainty, right? A guarantee of life in prison versus the uncertainty of taking this thing to jury. And I just point out in Idaho, even a state like this that generally supports the death penalty, has inmates on death row. It's been more than a decade since they've executed someone. And I was thinking back to last year, they attempted an execution here and botched it. And now that defendant, who has been on death row for 40 years, more than 40 years, 4 decades, that people in that case have been waiting for that kind of resolution to come.
What? The local news told you it's going to be July 11th. So they're not even, they can't even get facts straight. They're getting the Amazon Prime release and the actual trial that's now probably going to be canceled with whatever's going on now mixed up. How stupid.
That kind of thing weighs on the prosecution. Is there a benefit of having the certainty? I think the wild card in this, to me, was the
It is confusing because there's no confirmation of anything. So yeah, he's expected to accept it. That's why we're all confused about what's really going on here.
All his family and how vocal they were about wanting the death penalty, advocating for changes in the death penalty law to provide the firing squad as an option. I mean, it must be a hard way for the prosecution to sort of weigh those different factors.
Probably.
Is there any chance that the judge could say, I don't approve this?
Yeah. You know what? Let's add that. Let's add that to the freaking questions. Okay. Stacey Chapin, because you would not just say that. Okay, I understand that people are going to be like, well, she was emotional. She doesn't know what she's saying. I don't give a damn. You're a mother coming out talking about the death of your child and you slip out 2 a.m. will always be the darkest hour. What do you know? Because 2 a.m. is also the time that Dylan claims, or at least the court's now telling us that Dylan and Bethany and Maddie and Kaylee were all in Kaylee's room. And apparently Xana and Ethan weren't home. Or were they? And Dylan and Bethany were the damn distractions so that Maddie and Kaylee didn't see what the frick was going on. And then, oh, something went wrong. No. Stacey Chapin. 2 a.m. darkest hour. And I remember that too because Hunter and Maisie, I believe that's her name. Hunter and Maisie might be like on interviews and stuff today or whatever. But whenever she came out and said that whole 2 a.m. will always be the darkest hour thing or whatever, it was her and Jim, her husband. And the 2 kids weren't on the camera. And she had said something about talking to them the night before. And then she's like, do you want to get on the camera and say something? And they basically, I guess, like made her mad whenever they said no. Because for like a split second, she shoots them some eyes, okay? She shoots them like daggers. Because I guess she was expecting them to get on the camera because of the way that she was talking. And then they probably, against what was already agreed to, both said no. And she shot them a look. And I'm just like, I don't trust you anymore. How you just looked at them like you were so disgusted at them for telling you no and not getting on the camera to discuss all their sadness. And you're just like daggering them with your eyeballs. Like, I have a problem with that. I have a super big problem with that. We've read all the court documents. So if it was yesterday, there wasn't any court documents yet. But we went through it yesterday. We didn't find it. We only saw that he was reading the stuff off of the Goncalves family page. I'll check again though.
it's too lenient and the judge has concerns about it, that happens. I couldn't find a murder case where someone was agreeing to plead to life in prison and
Me
have
too.
a judge say, not life in prison, we got to do more. I mean, it seems like it's a huge sentence still in the scheme of things. So I have a hard time imagining a judge stepping in that case. But
I don't know. Whenever you have to create whenever you have to create a term that's supposed to be offensive just to get your point across, then why would I take you seriously? Why would I take you seriously? Use English and come to me with something that like is an adult.
This case has brought lots of surprises.
Yeah, that's a good point. My sense is too that the judge has probably been involved. I mean, the court date was set before it was made public. I think he was probably in the middle of these negotiations too, and has been part of it. So this probably isn't going to come as a surprise to him. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always great to see you. I'll see you in court tomorrow.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
No one gives a single shit. Is that supposed to be an excuse for being a loser? Bad look, bro. Bad look, bro. All right, let's see what else they're talking about. Okay, so I don't know if... Okay, this is the next one about the case, and I don't know if this is going to be something with her or not. So let's check this one out.
In just a few hours, Bryan Kohberger is set to plead guilty to quadruple murder on his way to a life sentence, unless Judge Stephen Hippler objects to the deal. And legally, he can do that, but practically, how do you put someone on trial after the whole world knows he agreed to admit that he did it? It is unlikely that he is going to go against the plea deal. In fact, he's probably already signed off on it. What if he were, though, tried and acquitted? If Bryan Kohberger doesn't stand trial, will the whole horrific story ever come out? And if it doesn't, is justice really served? Joining me now is veteran of the Idaho courts, criminal defense attorney Edwina Elcox. In fact,
You're not going to... If anybody tries to stream the Amazon thing on YouTube, they will probably get their channel shut down. Like, Amazon is really specific. Unless they put it eventually on like a YouTube channel, then you really got to just like... Look, you really got to be careful. On my other channel, Logical Oddity, that I had like a long time ago before it got demonetized for literally just like sharing something that was from the news that wasn't even mine, I had one of my other videos demonetized because of copyright, and all I did was use like it was the Nickelodeon series where Drake Bell came out and like finally admitted like all these things that had happened to him as a kid and like all this other stuff. Whenever I did my first video like talking about that, I took like the literal like title thumbnail from like how the YouTube has a thumbnail, but like Netflix has a thumbnail where you know what the frick you're watching. I took that and made like the background and like put words over it, put a filter on it, put my face in front of it, like did all kinds of stuff to it. They copyright struck me for using, even though I changed the crap out of it. So anything with Amazon, I would put on the same level of Netflix with what Netflix did to me, and just don't do it. I know that some people have like Patreon where they go in there and they do that kind of stuff over there because they can get away with it over there, but I don't dabble in that kind of stuff. Just saying.
her office is a block away, so we're lucky to have someone who understands this courthouse, this judge. I'm curious what you think about Judge Hippler in terms of, do you think he's going to push tomorrow to get information out of Bryan Kohberger, to get the
I have all
story,
of
to get
them.
the motive, to get...
As a matter of fact, let me prove that right now. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'm going to show you that I have access to every single one of these. Do you see this? These are thousands of screenshots of the conversation that was spread around between Brett Norton and Steve Goncalves. I have everything. I have every question he had regarding Dylan. I have everything when it comes to how the problems that he had whenever it came to the state. I have the proof of the facts of how Steve really feels about this investigation and where he got his bullshit from. I have all of it. And this isn't the only copy either. And I'm not the only one that has it either. So I'm waiting for like him to, you know, man up. The little statement that he made about the college really isn't good enough for me because he's got a lot more to say. He needs to hurry up and say it.
Details.
I don't think so. I think if Bryan Kohberger is going to enter a plea, all that he would be required to do is establish the elements of each of the crimes. So where it occurred, the date, obviously the names of each of the victims, and what he did. But as far as
Does she
requiring him
have,
to
so
say
she doesn't have any actual information, because I don't want to sit here and just listen to a bunch of people that don't really have anything to say. Where's Catherine Ramsland? That's what I want to know. That's the one I want to watch. That's the one I'm waiting for. Because see, we watch this one, we watch this one, watch this one, and these two are about politics. No. Okay. Well, crap. Okay, we're still waiting. You know, it's been like an hour, right? Like it was 9:34 when Home Chick said that she was going to put this on YouTube. People are still like, where is it? Where is it? Let me see if she posted another link to something else. No, she hasn't. Okay, so let's watch this one to see what they have to say. I don't like either one of these people. And it's kind of funny how they're starting to look alike. Notice?
I was gobsmacked. I don't know about you.
Oh, I know.
Totally. I'm shocked. I remain shocked and disappointed. Yeah. And part of me is disappointed, of course, for the families who
Not
are
wrong.
so desperate to see this through to the firing squad. The other part of me is very sad for the people of Idaho who also wanted answers. I believe many of them wanted answers.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, of course, I'm not disappointed.
Tell me you haven't paid attention to a damn thing without telling me that you haven't paid attention to a damn thing. How can you be an incel when if you've got a whole girl over there in the apartment complex that you live at faking a robbery after you have rejected her advances just so that she can get you in her apartment overnight? Tell me how an incel goes and gets a girl's number at a party and then goes over there and gets 2 more numbers from some bikini-clad chicks and has like these girls talking about him out here with smiles in their voices. How is that an incel? Pay attention to facts before you come over here talking.
That he's going to jail for the rest of his life, or is admitting he did what we all knew he did. But I feel like the families and the community deserved to see him held to account, deserved to have all the doubters have to sit and listen to the overwhelming evidence against him, and deserve the moment where the jury stands up and says guilty, and that his fate is not in his own hands. He's not in control, right? That those days have passed, that the state will issue a judgment on him and carry it out. But, you know, he's obviously a very controlling, sick person.
Okay. All you're doing is, I mean, if he comes out and confesses, say all you want to, but until we get something, and they're already telling us no details, just, yeah, guilty, and then we just going to shut everything down. No, I'm sorry.
Children's murder. They were so press covered. They didn't seem like all that factored in.
From leave.
Give a damn about Diddy. Give a damn about Diddy. Okay, that's it. Whatever's going on with Catherine Ramsland has not been posted yet, and it's been almost an hour. I'll give it until the actual hour mark because that's only 12 minutes from now. But at 9:34, we were trying to like wait for it, and it's been an hour. Hey, you. Good to see you. Hope you're feeling good. What you mean connect to the internet? You crazy? Yeah. We'll wait here for a second. See if there's anything else. See, that's the problem that I have because I found out that like even in a gag order, if there's a whole bunch of like actual false statements being presented as actual case fact, the defendant's lawyer, even under a gag order, has the right to come out and correct misleading and false statements. Like we found that out doing our own research. So the fact that Ann Taylor just allowed the dumpster fire is concerning, other than the fact that it keeps to the whole standing silent theme. That's the only thing I can think of. Thank you for the $4.99, Raphael. Can't the state require allocution as part of the plea agreement, or is that part of some strategy of Ann Taylor's part? This feels bajiggity. I know that and appeal processes, possible appeal processes, is what was talked about over on Lawyer, you know. I don't remember what they said about that portion of it though, but it was asked. So I would go over to Peter's live yesterday where he was talking with his dad, because they did mention that. They answered that question over there. I just can't remember what he said. Hey, Ram. Since when did microparticles of skin cells that was barely traceable ever become overwhelming evidence? Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Look, you know how many people's nasties I brought home today going to the damn thrift store? Going to Walmart to buy cat food. You know how many nasty particles I brought home just going to the Walmart cash pad and putting in my damn 4-digit PIN? Opening a door. Okay. Nasty. Nasty. You literally pick up like dozens of people's particles. You breathe in people's like dead skin cells. Like people don't really realize how easy it is, especially whenever they sit there and tell us they had to use cloning effects in order to continue on like the testing of the sample. So you're instantly telling me that it was so little that you had to clone it in order to even work with it. And I'm supposed to believe? Come on. Sorry. Not happening. See if there's anything else from her. How annoying. Yeah, I mean, if he's the one who did it, then I want to know everything, including that. Including that. Does the state attorney have the power to pull Ann off the bar? I think there's a whole investigation that has to go for somebody to be disbarred. Yeah, but I don't go to the live thing, and the producer chick over on Twitter said that they were going to be posting the clip on their page soon. Yeah, that's the habeas corpus motions is away. Yeah, wash your damn hands. Wash your hands, because you just don't know the type of people that are coming in before you that you're like touching the same stuff that they, because humans are pretty similar. And on top of that, we also like grab things at like a certain like level, right? That's why I always give you like the cereal aisle at Walmart thing, because there's like two main aisles that our bodies, because of how we are built, mostly gravitate to whenever we're just sort of like doing eye level-y, arm level-y stuff. So everything in that like range is like where you just don't want to touch, because that's where everybody's touching. I mean, just go to Walmart itself, and there's a reason why even before the pandemic, they had these like infectant or whatever wipes, disinfectant wipes up there so that you didn't have everybody in their mama's nasties from them all putting their nasty old hand sweat on the bar. Yeah, it's gross. It's so nasty. So nasty. I don't know. I mean, we know why. Payne literally told us. He told us in January in the closed session that they had a lead, but the second they got Kohberger's name, they put him off to the side. And then after they got Kohberger's name, the report came back in with the unknown male DNA from the glove and the unknown male DNA from the railing, and they also were told to put that aside and come back to it if. If what? You should have gone back to it to begin with. You should have never pushed anything aside. You getting a name doesn't instantly stop everything else. That's why I don't understand how they can sit there and say that this was an investigation. Investigation into what? You weren't even looking at him. And then for like a whole 24 hours after the feds even called and gave you his name, y'all didn't even know what the frick they were talking about. You didn't know until the presentation on the 20th. Everything was so secretive and vague and all these details out. Like, it just honestly makes no sense. It honestly makes no sense. Yeah, I mean, look, I sat down and like really just like ran everything down to my dad today. And within like 5 minutes, he's like, no, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's no proof of anything. 8 hours, 8 freaking hours. You should have seen his face whenever I told him all of the activity in that 8-hour time frame. Yeah. I think honestly, transfer from probably Dylan or Bethany. Honestly. So who knows? Ew. Yeah, that's gross. I get that. Ew, at the airport too. Ugh. You're not wrong, man. I don't know. Why don't you have something pointed at you and figure it out and come back and report? Oh, I know. And can you imagine, okay, like the people that have cases like mine, like I know that underneath this case, like this shit's sticky. I probably need to do it. I need to fix it. No, I've never heard that before. I don't know who would have said that because the bank footage is ATM footage, and all they said is that it was like Bryan had nothing to do with anybody. I think they even said he was alone at the ATM, if I'm remembering correctly. Thank you for the 199. Bets on Bryan rickrolling the court tomorrow. I mean, I'm really just curious. I mean, I really wish channels would stop mentioning things that aren't facts. Because nowhere in anything about the footage does it say anything about Dylan being anywhere near it. And there's nothing about Dylan not even being in the house in order to say that she could have been anywhere with him. So I don't know why people want to like make crap up. That's how we get to where we're at. Nothing that you touch, throw away. Don't throw away anything in public that you touch. You keep it in your bag and you throw it away at home. No, it's Bryan at an ATM in the morning and he's in the car alone. It's on a document. I don't remember which one. Actually, it might have been the make and model one, maybe. It's either the make and model one or like the specific one about SV1, but it's on there because there's like a layout of a bunch of different ones and they have him at an ATM at a certain time. I don't think he's going to get arrested. I think he's probably going to, well, you know what? He might act out in court. Steve's a hothead. He might actually show out in court. I wish I knew the full information because at some point Steve was supposed to go meet up with someone. No. I don't think the docuseries is the reason for the deal. I mean, it's not two. It's just he was at an ATM. We never heard that anybody else was at an ATM. It's just Bryan was at an ATM that morning. But we don't have the location. We just know that there was a certain bank that he apparently used, but I don't think they even gave the location of the ATM. Because I know that one channel was trying to claim that they could prove that it was in Moscow, like off this highway, but there was nothing in the documents that gave an address. They just said it was in the morning. They will. They're going to have him guarded up. They're going to have bulletproof vesting on him. They're going to have him completely. Yeah. It would be interesting if we go in there and instead of what they're claiming, it goes from standing silent to not guilty officially. That would be interesting. Okay, it's been an hour. Yeah, I don't see it. All right, you guys, it's 10:30. We've almost been live for 3 hours. I'm going to go ahead and jump off. And then tomorrow at some point, in the morning, I'll check to see the Ramsland thing. And I will just do like a video reaction or whatever she has to say or put it out here or whatever and talk to you guys about it that way. But I guess that's it. That's all the updates for now until tomorrow. Thank you, Dan. So again, let me do the link. I'll throw the link one more time for tomorrow's live to watch this situation. No, that's the one that we're in right now. Okay, here's this one. And again, it's going to be on the YouTube page. So if y'all want to go watch it at the source, I'll share that link out in the actual morning time. But yeah, that's it so far. Oh, I just missed something yellow. Oh my God, where is it? Oh, okay. Thank you for the 10. Iona Bikini. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Like my summer name. Oh, faux pair. How you doing? The whole investigation was shoddy from the beginning. Got the feeling he was given an ultimatum in the corrupt system to plea. Happy Canada Day. Yeah, happy Canada Day, you guys. Our 4th of July is coming up in a couple of days. And it's the Poopy's birthday. That's what I call the dogs. I don't know why. I just call them Poopies. And they're going to be, it's not really their birthday. We adopted them around the 4th of July time, and they were already like a few months old whenever I adopted them from the PetSmart Adoption Center. They came from a house that was just like hella overcrowded, and they were the last of the litter. I think there was like 6 or 7 in the litter. They were the last of the litter. Anyway, we celebrate their birthday on 4th of July. So 4th of July is coming up. Happy Canada Day, and it's the Poopy's birthdays. So that's going to be fun. We're probably going to get them some sort of weird meat thing. Maybe some stick or something. We like to give them treatsies. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will be on a little bit early. I think that it's like noon my time, Central Time. It's 11 their time, 12 my time. So I'll probably get on at like 11:15, 11:30 at the latest, just depending on what I'm doing. But yes, 11:30 at the latest, so we can discuss a little bit and do all of that stuff. What happened? Okay. Where is it? I'll check everything. I'll find it. Oh, okay, Alf. What's up? Yeah, we read it earlier. We read the stuff on, oh, is it? Well, happy birthday, Micah. Happy birthday. We read all of the things that she apparently said from the producer page chick on Twitter, and that's what we were waiting for. Because she said it was going to be over on News Nation's YouTube page like really soon, but that was over an hour ago. Yeah, I don't want to go over there and watch it off of his channel though, because like that's a person's channel. Like I'll go over to News Nation the second that it drops, but I don't want to just go over to somebody else's channel instantly watch it. But if CJ has it, you guys go over there and take a look, because it's not showing up over here yet. So thank you, Alf, for that. I must have missed it. But yeah, I'll go head over there to CJ's channel if he's got it. Let me go ahead and get ready to roll this thing out in a minute. Okay, thank you so much for jumping in. I know we don't usually go live on Thursdays, but we're probably going to end up going live every day this week except for Friday, because we did it last night. We're doing it tonight. Tomorrow's the hearing. So, of course, we're going to go live to talk about what happened after the fact. And then Thursdays, we go live naturally. So you're probably going to see me every night until Friday. Friday, I'm going to take a break, because Friday is the 4th, right? My days are everywhere. What is today? The days are everywhere. 2 days. Tuesday is the 1st. Tomorrow is the 2nd. Thursday is the 3rd. So yeah, Friday is. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be on here on Friday. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for the super stickers, the super chats, the members that joined. Thank you so much for being here and spending so much time with me going through all of this stuff. I very, very, very much appreciate it. Let me go ahead and roll out this little thingy if I can get to the right thing right here. Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and roll out this little thing. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. See y'all. Have a great night.